everybody. Hope you're doing very, very well. What a beautiful Saturday it is. Okay, let's get this party started as Kenton tries to get in here. Guys, you guys know the drill. Let's talk about THORChain. So THORChain is a decentralized exchange that enables you to swap Bitcoin with thousands of other cryptocurrencies, all layer one native tokens. There are no bridges or wrap tokens used. It is all from your self-custodial wallet. There's no KYC on THORChain. KYC means kill your customer. We don't do that. It's permissionless. THORChain's token is called Rune. That is spelled R-U-N-E. You do not need to buy or hold Rune in order to place a swap on THORChain. Very good design decision from us. However, the fees deducted from your swap are used to buy Rune, and this Rune is the yield that goes to your liquidity pools and nodes. So how it works, you maybe have an Ethereum to Bitcoin swap. All the fees needed for the intermediary gas transactions are taken from the starting asset, which would be ETH. There are no block rewards on THORChain. 100% of the yield is real. THORChain has another token called TCY. This token is kind of like a preferred stock. 10% of the protocol's revenue goes to these tokens. If you deposit crypto into savers or took out a loan on THORChain, make sure to claim your TCY token so you can start collecting this yield. There is no rush to do this, so make sure you understand what you're doing before you do it. And anyone can buy the TCY token as well. To swap on THORChain, go to thorchain.org, click on swap, and you will see all the wallets and websites that use THORChain, and you can choose the interface you want to use. Rujira is building a decentralized Binance on THORChain smart contract layer. It's being rolled out as we speak. And speaking of Binance, if you hold Rune on a centralized exchange, you need to withdraw into self-custody because these tokens can be used to short sell Rune and drive the price down in yourself. And once in self-custody, you should look into bonding your Rune to a node to earn some yield and help secure the network. And you can do this at runebond.com. Very easy. All you have to do is pick a node, request a whitelist, and then bond your Rune once approved. If you have questions, feel free to DM me. There's a THORChain community Discord and Telegram. You can all join to learn about THORChain and make friends. And in fact, we're going to have Baloney Bones on next week to talk about that more. But to find it, go to Thor Community. That's Thor, T-H-O-R, community account on X. Guys, please repost the space. If you're listening to the recording, I'm watching you right now. I'm watching you right now. Maybe you're in the bed. Maybe you're in the gym. Maybe you're on the toilet. Maybe you're driving the car. You need to repost this space. I don't care if it's dangerous. You repost this shit right now. I'm watching. And if you don't, God will judge you. Guys, this space is aimed at anyone towards their THORChain journey, whether you're learning about it for the first time or you've been around for years. There should be something for everyone on spaces today. Currently, a shout out for the node operators. There is a vote going on. The one is reducing the outbound delay from 1 hour to 20 minutes. And then ADR021 should be going out today. That is the marketing ADR. We're going to be probably talking about that later today. But that's enough, guys. Let's get this party on the road. My name is Patriot Sounds. I am an educator, content creator for THORChain. My co-host is having problems coming up. It is what it is. We'll get up here. But then we have the man of the hour, Chad Barraford. Chad, how you doing, sir? Good to see you again.
How are you, sir? Good to see you again.
I am doing so very well, man. Thank you again for coming up and talking. You are definitely a favorite of the THORChain spaces. So last time we had, you were talking about all the things you're working on, order book and all that good stuff. Would you like to maybe give a quick introduction of yourself if people are new and don't know you, and maybe break down what's been going on?
Yeah, sure. So, for those who don't know, my name is Chad Barraford. I'm one of the co-founders of THORChain. I was one of the original developers and helped architect, design, and build this code. I think to this day, like a majority of the code is still mine of the core protocol, but I haven't looked in many months, so maybe that's not correct anymore. But still a strong contributor. And these days, I've been working on expanding our swapping capabilities. Away from just like basic market swaps towards what we call limit swaps, which is conceptually similar to a limit order. And then the other thing I've been working on is what we call rapid swaps, which is basically allowing streaming swaps to occur in a single block rather than over several blocks or many blocks. So allowing people to trade very actively on the protocol in much more capital efficient way. And then the limit swaps, like I think what excites me the most about it, although there's many things, many points of value to it, is it allows our arbitrage bots to move from a passive kind of arbitrage perspective to a more active arbitrage perspective, and that just allows us to kind of maintain the pool prices much more effectively and much more quickly, and get more volume passing through the protocol.
Awesome. Yeah, these are huge increases in efficiency for the protocol. I am so very excited for them, and I know everyone's super excited for them. Well, we got Kenton up here. Kenton, you want to check out your mic, man? See if we got you there.
Yeah, mic check. Hi guys, thanks. Sorry about that. I don't know what the problem was.
Dude, don't worry. I had a problem with my phone. So then I just switched to desktop. So it is what it is. It's just X spaces are capricious. Go ahead and give a quick introduction of yourself, buddy, and then I'll let you take it for a little bit.
Yeah, my Canton Off Toes. I have a fund dedicated to investing in Rune and running nodes on THORChain, and yeah, that's it. So I'm a node operator and bond provider in THORChain. Yeah, that's me.
Love it, man. Awesome. So, yeah, I don't know if you had some for Chad, but he was just doing a brief recap on what's going on. Everyone always asks me like when. Are you able to say anything to that, Chad, right now? Because that's all I get asked all the time.
Yeah, so the limit swap code is going to be part of 3.11. Well, it's already majority of it's actually already in the code as of today, but there's a few more things to be added, which are in 3.11. There's a couple like kind of more like finishing touches I still need to work on, but the main meat of it is already kind of there. It'll be part of 3.11. Rapid swaps will probably also be in 3.11 as well, which will come out in a few weeks onto the main protocol. We can start taking votes or whatever to enable those features. So it's getting rather close.
Chad, I have a question for you about limit swaps and rapid swaps. Like, this will work? Like, you don't need to use trade assets to utilize either ones,
Correct.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, you could. So the memo that you pass to do the trade is almost identical to the current memo we use for just like a regular old swap. So you can do it. You don't have to have trade assets. You don't have to use anything like that. You can just do it straight from a wallet, from layer one BTC to whatever asset you're trying to receive on the other side.
And the RBots, because of their clout score, they're able to bypass the outbound delay in essence. So they'll be able to like truly benefit from the rapid swaps from like settling instantly. Like they will get instant settlement and be able to withdraw if they want.
Well, it's a little more of a complicated answer to that one. So it depends on how the RBot is arbing. So if the RBot's arbing with like trade assets, for example, then there's no outbound to be signed, and therefore there's no delayed outbound at all, 'cause it's all keeping within the system. So they don't really have to deal with the outbound delay in general, unless they're trying to exit the liquidity from a trade asset into layer one Bitcoin and then exchange it on, some other exchange or protocol or whatever. So it's cloud swaps are like the whole idea of cloud swaps is kind of going away a little bit, just because we implemented it specifically to reduce the delayed outbound, and it just seems like the community we're now voting as we mentioned earlier in the session here that we're voting to kind of reduce the outbound delay, so that the whole cloud concept is kind of reducing in its value, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I actually was just talking to Familiar Cow yesterday. We're just brainstorming about the idea of using like the clout score as a way of like getting reduced fees, because a lot of exchanges would do like, oh, if you're trading under $10,000 in a month, it's this much fees, and if you're doing 100,000 in a month, it's like less fees, and it kind of goes up over time to incentivize larger scale traders to trade. So I was talking to Familiar Cow about that notion yesterday. I don't know if we'd actually do it or not, but it was just kind of brainstorming out loud.
I'm totally in favor of it. I think absolutely we should. Like basically just
Yeah.
copy Binance's fee schedule.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. It's duplicating the fee schedule. It's using the clout score to do so, in
Yeah.
effect.
Yeah.
Because we don't have KYC, right? So we can't KYC people and apply it to the KYC. So we have to do it based on like wallet address, in effect.
Yeah. And then like, what about the idea of like, so referring to Binance's fee schedule, for example, not only do they do it by volume, but they also pair it with how much BNB tokens you own. What
Yeah.
about that? How much Rune tokens that address owns would also help get you a lower fee.
Yeah, that gets a little bit more complicated because most of the swaps are like going from like Bitcoin to like USDC, for example, and so there's no Rune, in the no Rune address with these, so it becomes a little bit more difficult in those scenarios. But I'm open to that. I'm open to exploring it and hearing ideas and kind of playing with the idea and seeing what we can do to kind of strengthen the protocol. I mean, kind of the point of like the whole clout score in this context is that, at least in my mind, was that like if you get less fees as you trade on THORChain, it kind of causes traders to be kind of locked into the THORChain community, right? Instead of being drawn by other competitors. This is exactly what happens. This is why they do like that free trial stuff. That you ever go on some website and sign up for like a 14-day free trial and all this kind of thing. The reason why that works so well, so effectively, is that you spend 14 days like getting to know the software, configuring it to your specification. And then after a while you've invested a lot of your time and a lot of your energy into this free trial. So when the free trial is up and they want to charge you like $15 for the service, you're more likely to say yes to that than you are on day one. More likely to say yes on day 14 versus day one. And so this conceptually could be a little bit similar in the sense that the more people trade on THORChain, the better of a discount you effectively get. And you don't want to lose that discount by going to some other provider. You want to continue to build that discount and get an even better discount. And it kind of creates like an incentive, like a rewards program, if you might want to call it that, to have people be long term and aligned with THORChain as their like primary swapping platform.
Makes perfect sense. So like how you just said, if somebody swaps like Bitcoin for Tether, there's no Rune address associated. Well, doesn't the cloud score follow a Rune address? How is cloud being measured or tracked?
No, it follows any address. So
Ah,
you get value swapping from the Bitcoin, and you get value swapping to the ETH address, right? And maybe there's a Bitcoin address, an ETH, a Rune address as well. But all of those addresses, each individual address, the Bitcoin address and the ETH address, have some cloud score that's associated with those two addresses. And then when you swap through those two, you get the combined cloud score of both addresses because you're swapping the to and the from, right?
got it, got it,
And then you get some sort of like reduced, delayed outbound because of the collective score of those two addresses.
got it. Okay, got it. No, I love this idea. I think we absolutely should do it. And like going back to copying.
Actually, what you could do is actually like you could take Thor names, for example, and register, like buy a Thor name, register your, your Rune address, your Bitcoin address, your ETH address, your whatever address you want to like, register with this. And the Thor name kind of like builds the cloud score. And that way, if you trade from anything to anything within those addresses, theoretically, that's another way of doing it to kind of register your addresses that you want to start combining together to do some cloud score thing. There might be some privacy concerns around that, like doxing that these addresses are owned by the same person, whatever. But that's up for the individual to decide for themselves whether they want to do that or don't want to do that.
Yeah, and it could create something really interesting. So there's two things I want to bring up. One is a reason not to have people's Rune holdings contribute to lower fees is that's how we compete with Binance, right? Like these traders and market makers have to tie up a lot of capital in the BNB token to just sit there.
Yeah.
And if we don't do that, that frees up more capital, right? We're more competitive.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that's happening, this happens, Binance knows about it, and Binance is trying to fight it, is that these big market makers and OTC desks, they're getting VIP 10 or VIP 8 or whatever on Binance,
Yeah.
getting these reduced fees, and then they're upselling it to their customers, to their clients. So it's like they're pooling all these smaller traders into this one house, into this one larger trader, and then trading on Binance. And so Binance is trying to find ways to fight that. And I'm wondering if we almost encourage it. And your idea with the Thor names, if we can have, if someone can have a clout score build up with the Thor name, let them run wild. Let them upsell it, sell it to other users. You follow me where I'm going with that
Yeah.
logic?
Yeah, maybe. I think it requires more thought and consideration, both for me and the rest of the community. But it's something worth kind of noodling on to see if it can be valuable to the protocol, for sure.
Well, it's definitely, we want to give our power users, the people who use THORChain, some extra benefit over the casual user, right? It's
Yeah,
every business does that, right? Like rewards, points, whatever. There's some advantage to your best customers, right? You give them something back.
yeah, yeah. I'm also like I'm kind of interested in at some point pondering on the idea of like how do we become like an OTC desk as well, because I don't know how people on this call probably use a OTC desk. Probably not many, because they generally require your trades to be at least $100,000 each trade, which obviously not a lot of people have that kind of money thrown around. But OTC desks do massive, 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 massive volume, right? And they basically work as oftentimes you have a communication with some person at like Kraken or Coinbase or something like this, Binance, and you have like a DM with them through like Signal or WhatsApp or something like this, and you say, "Hey, I want to do a trade," and they say, "Okay, what do you want to do?" "I want to sell, Bitcoin into USD," and they give you some sort of quote that's locked in for, I don't know, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15, whatever the hell the number is, and then you execute the trade, and you get a very reduced fee, and a kind of a easier interaction in some ways. So I kind of wonder, like, if there's like an area that we can kind of an area of trading that we can kind of like dip our toes into, and try to like pull in some like OTC like level trades.
Nice, right on. So I'm curious about this vote with the outbound delay. I'm kind of the one who's started pushing for it and being loud about it. I think it's a great step in the right direction. Try to go down to 20 minutes, maybe give just slowly edge our way out of it. What are your thoughts, Chad, on completely removing the delay and just going back to wide open? Are you scared of that? Are you like, no, we should still just take it easy? You want
Um,
some delay?
I mean, I personally like the delay, especially as we're like launching into like the app layer, and the app layer is going to have its own layer, like potential exploits of like new code, and having a methodology to to protect the app layer, and provide ways of um, stopping capital exiting. Um, here's my cautionary tale to kind of like the community as a whole on this idea, is that if you think about like the last cycle, when we went into like the bull market, the bear market, almost like every single like centralized lending platform like went tits up, right? They all kind of collapsed, and the reason why that was is because there's this unhealthy thing in the market where everybody was just trying to outbid everybody else, because each centralized kind of like lending platform wanted to kind of get more loans, and the way to do that was, yeah, they want to get more loans, and the way to do that is to offer like lower interest rates or high interest rates, depending on if you're a giver or taker or whatever. And that just pushed them to do more and more kind of like riskier and riskier kind of bets on the back end, right? And then the market went bear, and they all went tits up, and they all they all went under because of just kind of these bad practices, and the market kind of pushed them in towards these bad practices. Like they're all starting to participate more and more with them, and so like this is the cautionary tale I have here, is that like the push to remove the delayed outbounds, because there's the more competition in THORChain's marketplace, right? We got Near, and we got Chainflip, and we got Changely, and like whatever else out there. And there's a kind of a push to be more and more competitive, and there's this kind of like natural kind of race to the bottom. But as you get closer and closer to that bottom, you're introducing more and more risks. You're introducing less fee generation. You're introducing all sorts of different things, and so we have to be cognizant of our competitive landscape, and react accordingly. But we also don't want to go too kind of like do whatever has to happen in order to be like 100% competitive in every kind of element of or attribute of like what a trade looks like. So like that's my kind of cautionary tale to the community as a whole. Doesn't necessarily mean that like going down to 20 minutes is a bad thing. And I, if I was a voting node, I'd probably vote for it myself. Just because it's been very effective over the last few years. We've had that feature. And the core protocol has become so much more stable in the last few years than it was when we first implemented delayed outbounds, which was in like 2021. So there's a good reason to actually argue that we don't need as much as we did in the beginning. But I also don't want to throw caution to the wind either.
Yeah.
But the rapid swaps, that's my concern, is that how effective are rapid swaps going to be if right now like somebody has to still wait up to an hour for their trade to go through. Like the swap will go through instantly, but they're still sitting there waiting an hour to get it. So if we do you think that will have as big of an impact on volume if it's still like this? You understand what I'm asking? Just because the swap happens right away doesn't mean the user gets their funds right away. It still takes forever for the user to get their funds.
The rapid swap will allow them to get their funds faster, right? Like if there's an hour delay now in the rapid swap executing the trade in a single block versus an hour delay in 30 minutes, where it would have executed in 30 minutes, then instead of getting it in an hour and a half, you get it in an hour. So it's still going to be faster no matter what. But you're raising a good point, and it's just a question of what kind of like security kind of posture do we want to have. Again, the up and delay was never there to create a good UX. That was obviously never the intent. The intent was just to have a stronger security posture that if in the event that something happens and funds are at risk, that we can pause and retain those funds and not have to deal with another situation.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, I understand. My concerns with, if I look back over the last 4 years, all the things done to protect THORChain make it that much harder to use. And it's like I get it, it's a trade-off, but at some point, like we have to accept the risk, right? Like we got to take some risk, and because otherwise we're just protecting a protocol that nobody wants to use. Like it's
sure, but that becomes like a where do you draw that line of what is too risky or not risky enough or whatever, right? And that's it's a subjective line that you can draw, that I can draw, that everybody on this call can draw, and it just becomes up to the nodes to decide like where that line is we want to draw. Is it an hour? Is it 20 minutes? Right? Or is it 0 minutes? Right? Like where is the line we want to do as a community, and that's up to the community to vote.
I think the 20 minutes is a good step forward. And like Pragmatic Monkey said in the last spaces, we're going to be introducing a lot of new code with the app layer, a lot of new attack surface. I'm confident in their abilities, but shit happens. So I am partial to both your argument, but I think 20 minutes is definitely, I mean, we're reducing it by 66%. So I think that's a good step in the right direction.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd be curious to see what actually happens as a result of this. So like if we pay attention to, the volume, whatever, and does this actually mean more volume to the protocol, or does it not mean like any more volume? Like when we get these like kind of APIs like SwapKit, for example, that kind of quote a bunch of different protocols, THORChain included, and then they pick one and they trade. Like, how much does the length of the trade, the time of the trade, really matter? I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
It definitely matters, because I can tell you, I've definitely avoided THORChain, so I don't want to wait. So that's it too. So how many people are not trading on THORChain because they don't want to wait, or they trade once and like, what's taking so long, and then they don't want to do it again. It's definitely a factor. Time is a huge factor, especially in today's world. Time is everything. Like how often you go to a website, if it doesn't load within 2 seconds, you're gone, right? Like, it's time is huge. I would argue even more important than price. I mean, how many times in your life have you paid a premium to get things done faster? So time is huge in today's world.
Yeah, no, that's a fair statement, and we should just pay attention to the results of this kind of experiment. That we're going to reduce delayed outbound. let's see what the data tells us.
Yeah.
And then that's the way to go at it.
Yeah. Patriot, you mentioned Apple Air introducing a whole new attack vector. This is, I mean, does it really? Like, I thought the whole point of Apple Air and the smart contract layer is that these like Apple Air can't do anything different than you and I can do, than just a regular user. It's just automating a person or the ability to interact with THORChain. Like, there's no new, like, there's no real change in the code. Like, or how do I say that?
No, I think you're right. And what I'm saying is, I think with as the app layer goes, like THORChain and Regira, their reputations will become intertwined, right? And it just, I mean, I think you can see the permutation in real time. Like the communities are coming together, and so for me, it's just about promoting the best experience when it comes to security. But then to your point as well, I mean, speed is such an important aspect. So I got to be honest and say I'm really not sure. There's a lot of unknowns. I might actually want to kick that to Chad or if Pragmatic Monk was it to ask him, because I'm not sure. But that's just what my gut tells me.
Well, this is why people keep bringing up. I have to push back on this combining the two community idea. This is why THORChain and Regira need to stay separate. THORChain can promote THORChain. Regira can promote Regira. If Regira has any problems, if there's any issues, that's on their brand, right? That's how THORChain protects itself. Then we can be isolated from that and not take it on, right? So,
That's fair, but you got to remember the interface. If we start offering these primitives on the app layer with a THORChain skin, then also that may just have, I don't know, that might, I mean, right? Like I think that's the goal on the front end is, we'll have perps, we'll have this, and it'll be called THORChain, but really it's Regira. And to your point, people won't be able to distinguish the difference. I'm really not sure, Kenton. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I don't really have a hard stance on this. Something I think about a lot, though.
Yeah, no, fair point. Chad, do you have any insight though on that on app layer on like, does it actually increase the attack surface by just having an automated user?
That's a little bit of a complicated answer. So the short answer is no, because it doesn't really have any additional access or capabilities to the base layer than what you or I have as people. It's still using deposit, statements and whatever else, like the same as anybody else. But of course, it has its own individual kind of attack surface. So there could be a software bug in the COSM WASM Rust contract that's being written or whatever that has some sort of possible exploit or something like that. And that could be exploited, and some trade assets that were locked into that particular DApp are kind of exposed and released, and then they're try to exit into layer one Bitcoin or whatever the hell it is. Like the core protocol doesn't really have any additional risk to it really, to its bonds or to its LPs or whatnot. At least not to my knowledge. But it does have its own independent risk separate from the core protocol, where its funds could be lost theoretically.
Yeah, like the Ruji pools and stuff, and like the perps,
like the Ruji
platform.
pools, for example,
Yeah.
and like the perps and the Bitcoin backed stablecoin, like all those things can have its own risk of collapse or risk of exploit or risk or whatever that's separate from the base layer, but it doesn't put rune holders at risk to my knowledge, or anything like that.
Gotcha. I want to ask you about limit swaps. So will the front ends have to do like a lot of work to support them, and have their users be able to enter limit swaps and cancel their limits?
Yeah. It's definitely going to need some help from the various UIs to help kind of visualize what's happening, because you're gonna put in a limit swap and you're waiting to buy up some Bitcoin and the price hits some number or whatever the hell it is, whatever, and you're gonna want to place an order and you're gonna want to wait for potentially days for that trade to be executed, waiting for the prices just to kind of hit a certain kind of ratio where you can actually execute a swap and get the thing at the what you're looking for. So there's going to require some UIs to kind of refactor themselves to kind of support the feature. But I think that's makes sense because to me, the type of person, the individual who wants to use like a limit swap is not like a swapper in a traditional sense. They're more like a trader, right? Somebody who looks at charts, somebody who, makes a long-term analysis and TA, whatever it is, and fundamentals, whatever. And that type of person is wants a more complicated and more powerful and more, rich kind of UI. And I think like that's really positive. Like, I can imagine, THORSwap or other kind of UIs just kind of like engaging with this and giving a very good clean UI for it, which is great because it's attracting a different type of swapper or a different type of trader into our ecosystem, rather than just try to compete with chain flip or whatnot on just like basic market swaps, where we can do that, but also expand to a different marketplace that they're not servicing and get volume that way, right? And being kind of like water and mold ourselves as we need to attract the most amount of volume and fee collection as we can.
Oh, totally. No, this I think this will be huge for us. So will there be like on THORChain.net, like a way to see the whole order book on THORChain? Is that being talked about?
There should be, like, I don't know if that's actually going to happen or not. Like, I'm not like clued into the UIs working on this. I'm just trying to get the feature off the ground and
Yeah.
and then let the whatever UIs, whether it be THORChain.net or whomever that wants to kind of engage in this particular feature and offer, you know, looking at order books and seeing how much liquidity is waiting to be executed in one direction or the other, or what have you. I know that like the app layer will probably be using this feature themselves to some degree, and also market swaps as well. So like they'll all kind of plug into that to some variation or some amount. But it's up to the different UIs to decide what they want to do. And like we were talking before, you and I, Kenton, about like a THORChain official UI, a swapping UI, right? That's be part of like the memoless world, and whether this is included in that is another discussion to be had and debated.
Cool. So so THORChain base layer is going to have its own order book, and the Regira app layer is going to have its own order book. And then in theory, traders and arbitrageurs will go between the two, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but it's going to be like it's kind of a funny thing because you can say that THORChain has its order book, and you can say that the app layer has its own order book, which is kind of factually true, but they also trade with each other like they're neighbors, so they in some ways they're like one order book, you can argue, right? Because on an order book on Ruggieri, like if the pool can execute the trade, then the pool executes the trade, and if they didn't, even if they don't have the liquidity in the Ruggieri, it would have it. It can go to the base layer to get the liquidity there that it wants or needs. So the two are like they're separate, but they're also like highly coupled, in a matter of speaking.
So, okay, so my own ignorance then, what the limit swaps on base layer, that's L1 assets being held. And then on app layer, that's secured assets. So the protocol can swap between an L1 asset and a secured asset as if they're the same. It'll see that, read them the same
Uh,
way.
yeah, I had to like double check the code to make sure, but I think you could go with a limit swap from an L1 to a secured asset or even a trade asset. I think maybe I have to look at the code again.
Peter, do you have anything else?
Yeah, I do have a question here. It is from Jima. This is from the Clout system. This is something you were talking about earlier, Chad. His question is, can't Dex cheat Chad's idea, at least for EVM chain, by sending all swaps through a wrapper first? That's his question.
All swaps through a wrapper first. So that would mean that like a DEX like Uniswap, for example, would create a wrapper thing, and it would channel some of its volume through THORChain through that wrapper, and then get like lots of discount trades. Is that the question? I understand it correctly?
Maybe. I don't have much information. I think that's probably right, though.
Yeah. Yeah, it's possible, but in order to do that, you have to.
Through a smart
Pre-
contract. Through a smart contract, he says.
Yeah, I don't see why it would not be possible to use it to build a smart contract, and that contract gets the cloud score. It doesn't really bother me so much because in the end, in order to get the cloud score, you have to just trade a lot. I don't really fucking care if it's like some random dude in an EOA wallet or a smart contract, whatever. As long as the volume's coming in, then I think that's fine by me.
He's
Yeah, it's like spending millions of dollars on your credit cards to get thousands of dollars of airline points. Like
Yeah.
you, you're you got to spend so much money, right? Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he's
To be fair, it depends on like the configuration of that cloud score. Like, how much trading do you need to have before you get what kind of discount? And that kind of ratio right there would probably matter, right? Like, because if you just did like, if you trade $10, you get like 90% off on your fees. Like, that would be a pretty like ridiculous, ratio. So it depends on what the kind of parameters are that would matter in that hypothetical
he
situation.
describes it here. He says this is in regard to Token Pocket specifically. He says all swaps done through Token Pocket go through their own contract first, where they skim the fee and then they go to THORChain.
Yeah, yeah. Theoretically would be that's how it would work in that scenario. That's probably how it's working right now in that scenario. Like, there's probably very little outbound delay out of that particular smart contract, because it's using the same cloud score.
Well, wouldn't that be a good thing that we would, if Token Pocket, if they're sending us lots of volume, we want to give them a discount?
Well,
Like
it depends on how you want to look at it. So to argue for the question per person prompting the question to argue from their perspective, like, well, we don't want everybody get access to this discount. We want people who like earned. So like, say you need to trade like $1,000 to get 5% off on the trade. I'm just making up round numbers here, right? But or it's better to have five different people trading $1,000 each to each get the 5% off than all five doing $200 worth and combining together. Now all of them get the discount, but only actually traded with $200 each. See what I mean? Like, it's a way of undercutting of abusing the cloud score and that hypothetical, right? So that you only trade $200 to get the 5% discount, where you're supposed to be getting $1,000 before you get the 5% discount. Does that make sense? I think it's actually kind of aligned to what you were saying earlier, Kenton, about like Binance having a problem with like people just kind of like wrapping their cheap fees and avoiding paying larger amounts of fees to Binance.
Yeah, exactly. Patriot, do you have anything else?
I don't think so, man. If you want to move to another topic like marketing or something, I'm totally open.
Well, I figure that's going to dominate the conversation. So I want to give Chad a chance to talk
Sure.
about anything else you want to bring up, Chad, before we get into marketing.
Yeah, I mean, I think the protocol in general is doing quite well, actually, from a technical perspective. We have a handful of like things we want to see done in the nearest future, for like major features in the base protocol, and all of those are kind of already in flight by one more person or another. So I'm hoping that like within the next, I don't know, I'm gonna say like 5 or 6 months, we'll have all those major features landed, and that's like rapid swaps and limit swaps and DKLS for cryptography. That's memless inbound and memless outbound. That's batch outbound, so we can reduce on gas fees, transaction fees, so forth and so on. I think like the thing that's like happening now that I think is really interesting and something we all need to be like kind of cognizant of in our kind of community is that I do see like the kind of like landscape shifting in the cross chain swap kind of like marketplace. And while THORChain was like really the first to do this, and we were kind of the only ones to do it for, I don't know, it must have been 3 years before somebody else forked and created something very similar. There's more competition these days, and people are trying to compete in different ways. I know like Near is subsidizing a lot of their trades with like zero, like no fee kind of scenario to try to like stand out and get more kind of bigger piece of the pie in a matter of speaking. But it seems like there's like kind of like a race to the bottom situation now where And that's not just even just like the core protocols, that's also like the UIs, right? And the UI has been charging a lot of money for a while now, and that's probably not going to survive over the coming, 6 months or 12 months, whatever it is. There's just going to be this race to the bottom because in the result we're all doing the same exact thing, right? Like if you buy like a cake from somebody, there's the such thing as a better quality cake or a lesser quality cake, and that's comes into the price. But in our case, we're just swapping Bitcoin for an Ethereum, right? And there's no better quality Ethereum, right? It's all the same token. So the only thing you can differentiate yourself on is basically like price and time and trustability that the swap is actually going to execute the way you think it's going to execute, that kind of thing. And that's a very little kind of small margins, and that's going to push the market as a whole into very low fee trades, because if you don't do it, somebody else is, right? And that's just like the free market doing what the free market does in that scenario. So we have to think about like how we can compete in the long term as a protocol against this kind of rapidly changing kind of landscape that we're now in. And fees is kind of like the thing that everybody's kind of focused on now, and again the cheapest thing. But that's not going to be like make sense over the long term in terms of survivability. You have to start thinking about like other ways of attracting liquidity and volume, other than just like cross chain swaps, right? We're doing that with like limit swaps and rapid swaps. We're doing that with like the app layer, for example. We're already kind of forward thinking in this particular way, but it's the same thing that's happened to centralized exchanges, because now they're plentiful. They don't really make a lot of money, Coinbase and Binance, like on their swaps, and the money they typically do make from their swaps, probably not even from the actual fees. It's probably from like front running those trades and doing their own counter trades in front of your trade or something like this. A lot of them make money predominantly on just like holding assets, right? And on asset management is a kind of probably a very valuable part of like Coinbase's like income, for example. So it's like we can't rest our laurels on just on like being the first and the best market cross-chain market swapping. We have to think about what else we can do to garner more volume and more interest and more innovation and value to the protocol, to the industry as a whole. And I think we're doing that, but we just have to keep on being creative in that sense.
Yeah, actually, I think that's a great segue into talking about marketing. So maybe just to refresh people, in case anyone's not aware, myself and Scorch started a new ADR021. It's in GitLab. It's been commentary period on Discord, and there's been some debate and talk about it here over the last week. Hopefully, it's going to go to vote here next week. It'll be put up to vote for the nodes. But the gist of the ADR is to ask for 5% of THORChain's revenue to go towards a marketing team, a marketing fund, just like the dev fund. And the goal of this marketing fund is to start promoting THORChain, get users, like start developing and building THORChain's brand. So, Chad, you're talking about, reevaluating things, doing things differently. The way like THORChain has been run, like its marketing plan has been no marketing. Let other people tell the story. Let the front ends do it. THORChain is business to business. Get into their wallets, and then let the wallets communicate to their users and get trades and all kind of stuff. And THORChain is supposed to be in the background and invisible, and that was a great idea. I think I bought into it. A lot of us bought into it, and it was working. THORChain was getting into all these wallets. It's continuing to get into more. I think it's inevitable. THORChain will be in every wallet in every world. It's going to happen. But there's some other things that aren't happening. Like THORChain is not invisible. If you look at all the top front ends that have THORChain integrated, like the top volume, all of them except Trust, you have to go and select THORChain. It's not invisible. You have to choose to use it. And these wallets, these platforms with over like 300 million downloads, it's been 4 years now, and where's all these users? We have 30,000 users per month right now, it's like 1% of 1% of all their that whole user base. There's a disconnect, right? So like these, we're all waiting and hoping for these wallets to go promote and market to their users to trade, but they're not, or what they're doing a horrible job if they are. And are we going to sit here and wait for another 4 years for something to be done, or do we start doing what we can to educate people on cross-chain trading? So this is what kind of pushed me and Scorch, and to kind of push this along. Like, I'm seeing that the business plan and model of THORChain is not working. We need to shift gears, and it's okay that this isn't dire. Like, it's the end of the world. It's just we're taking in data, and we need to readjust. We need to refocus. And if you think about also, all these things were done to protect THORChain, right? To be decentralized, to not have a front end, to let others have integrate THORChain, let others distribute THORChain, and THORChain is going to be this really difficult to pin down type protocol. Well, if it's difficult to pin down by regulators and big brother, it's also difficult for people to use, and that's kind of what's happened. And we've had this decentralized distribution of THORChain. We've also created this decentralized distribution of our competition as well. And like, THORSwap's classic example. Like, it's, you mentioned near, Chad. As far as I understand, the majority of near intense volume is all going through THORSwap. The platform we spun out to support THORChain is now sending our users elsewhere. And so I think the idea of THORChain, like it's THORChain, the interface being decentralized, I don't think is working. We need to centralize it. We need to be vertically integrated in that, we have our own front end. We start building our own brand. We start getting users. We start working on the distribution. We have a free API for all the wallets to use. And we take all that stuff back in-house. The base layer, that needs to stay decentralized, that's fine. But the top layer, I guess we can call it, that should be centralized and vertically integrated, so we can control every piece of it, and start creating a real brand for THORChain that has and there's brands that have pricing power. So that's how we avoid the race to the bottom on fees with the competition and all these other wallets, because that's what it is. You're absolutely right. Whereas we can start building our own brand on our own platform, and yeah, that's how we pivot. That's how we fight it. We'll stop there. See if you guys have any comments or questions.
So to give a little bit of like historical context, as somebody who's been in the project from the beginning, when we were like me and JP in the very beginning of this thing, we were both living in Melbourne, Australia at the time, writing the code before we even launched, before any of these things, like super early. We looked into like having like a cross chain wallet somewhere to be able to like swap between Bitcoin and ETH or whatever. And like there really wasn't much out there for cross-chain wallets, and if there was, it was like closed source, so it wasn't like great for us to work with for obvious reasons. And that's partially what we wanted to do. Was like, oh, it was an opportunity here to not only create a cross-chain swapping, protocol, but also like an open source, freely available like wallet. And that's kind of what BEPSwap was in the early days. BEPSwap is like the precursor to what we call THORSwap today. And it made sense at the time, and we were like kind of highly aligned for a long time there. But uh, over time, as more competitors came into the space, we proved that this can work. This cross chain swapping idea can work, and eventually, other people wanted to kind of get a piece of what we were cooking, and more competitors came in, and it makes sense for THORSwap. Like THORSwap started to send volume to like Near or whatever, and I don't want to sound like I'm criticizing them, because I'm not, but like they were also just responding to the market conditions, right? Because if they didn't actually engage with multiple swap choices, then their competitors would have, and then maybe they would have lost out to their competitors, and that was like a choice that they made, and not necessarily a bad one. I don't criticize them for making that particular choice. but they're also like charging a bunch of fees, but to do so, like, 25 bips or whatever hell the number of bips that THORSwap charges. And that's just like, that's also like, as there's more competition, that's going to become a problem, for the market as well, right? And so you run into this kind of interesting problem of like, well, there wasn't really anything for cross-chain wallets to begin with, so THORChain created it, and we had kind of made it possible for this whole world to fucking exist to begin with. But as soon as there was more competition in the market, it created kind of the lines of like, being vertically integrated, to use Kenton's words, as it was before, kind of broke down, right? So building a new UI that allows us to like do swaps, whatever that's official to THORChain, that'll have some good value to it. I'm really excited to see that come out, and especially if it comes out and only has like either a 0 bip or a 1 bip fee instead of like the 25 bips or whatever the hell it is that THORSwap and other people utilize. Like, that will just drive a lot of volume towards us, because now it's like it's cheaper to swap on THORChain than it is on Near, even though Near is not having any fees, right? Because you still have to pay the THORSwap, 25 bips, which is a lot, because on THORChain you only do 5 bips for the actual fees, right? So it's just like it's going to create more competition. It's going to force THORSwap to also shift their position as well and create more competition in the market. So it makes sense. We have to do this for ourselves in order to give us like the best chance, right? And offer like the best quality of service. And we should create our own UI that is, 1 bip or very small fees, and just have the most of the fees being taken out to the core protocol.
Yeah, exactly. Like the biggest, everyone keeps criticizing THORChain to, get better quotes. It's like, all right, well, we're getting our own front end. It's way better quotes than every other front end. So
Yeah.
there you go. And it doesn't mean we shouldn't still. I always feel like too many people always think it's like an either or question. Like THORChain should still be working on getting good quotes in its other, in general, right, on these other platforms, right, and have its own feeless front end, right? It's not like,
Yep.
we have a feeless front end and then we just stop worrying about the quality of our quotes. No, we still want to be competitive. We still want to compete and make those as best as possible.
Yep.
Yeah. So okay. And the other thing is too, like, a lot of people, THORChain was built out of during a hostile regulatory environment, right? Where, people are getting debanked, if you're in crypto, it's kind of a badge of honor, I guess, if you've been debanked in crypto, and projects are getting blackballed, all that kind of stuff. It's hard to get, we're, governments around the world basically are against us. And it's done a 180. Like, we're in a completely different regulatory environment right now where it's friendly. And
Yeah.
I just posted something the other day on Twitter that the DOJ said they're not going to go after developers if there's no criminal intent proven, right? Like, if a criminal uses your code, if your intent for writing that code was to facilitate criminals, fine, then we're going to come after you. But if your intent for writing that code was not to facilitate crime, we are not going to come after you. And like, that's a huge, like, hey guys, we're not doing anything wrong here.
Yep.
You should get more comfortable, because that was part of the reason for, THORChain being as decentralized as possible, so we don't get shut down. And you guys have to think about the bigger picture here, like the second and third and fourth order effects of this is like, everyone's talking about institutions and big money coming in, and 401ks, all this like trillions of dollars going to start buying crypto. They're not going to buy anything that they think is regulatory, like against the regulators, like or uncompliant or whatever. And so if THORChain's position is that, well, we don't want our own front end and we don't want to market it because we're scared of getting in trouble from the regulators, no institutional investor is going to want to invest in THORChain. Like, they want to know what we're doing is legitimate, and it is, right? And so, having our own front end and promoting it is totally fine. It's safe. You're not doing anything wrong. The front end will have a blacklist. We will do that. That's how we protect ourselves, right? That's how we, we're playing the game. We're trying to do right. The base layer is where there's no censorship, right? And that's what stays decentralized and free from any intrusion. But the top layer, we can play the centralized game. We can do that, and I think we can do a really good job at it, and we can do it totally safe, totally, and compete. We just have to do it, right? Like we just have to put ourselves out there.
I got something to say here, and this goes to what you're saying, Kenton. So I've had some people step up yesterday, and we've done stuff like this before, but I think it's the real deal now, especially with once ADR021 gets approved, assuming it does. I don't think it won't be. It's gonna be marketing time, right? So I had someone come into the THORChain community Telegram and basically talk about marketing, and they said, I want to help. They're not expecting any compensation whatsoever. And then I had another person say it, right? And so we started chit-chatting in the Telegram, and this is what we came up with, and I think this is a great idea. If you are listening to this live or the recording, and you are really excited for ADR021, and you want to help Kenton or just marketing in general, please come over to the THORChain Telegram and tag me. And if I know who you are, because I know a lot of people, I don't want to do any scammers, obviously. I will give you a marketing mod tag, okay? And this is going to be great. So what we want to do then is be adjacent and supplementary to Kenton and Scorch's and anyone else's attempts to market. So if Kenton tries to market something, you definitely can help that, but also take it upon yourself to do something of your own fruition to also market as well. So on the THORChain community, the people with the marketing tags, I'm going to let you talk about marketing strategies, whatever you want to do. And this will be great. So if anyone wants to come in there, please tag me. I will give you a marketing mod tag, and let's get this done. Additionally, there is a separate group on Telegram. You can't just join it. There's an amplifier group, and there's about 180, 190 people in there, if I remember correctly. And this group is specifically for posting links. We don't like to do chit chat there. We don't, we want to have all signal, very minimal noise if we can help it. Okay. So between the THORChain Telegram community channel and the amplifier group, we want to engage in marketing. So again, I shout to anyone, if you are excited, if you want to work for your badge, just like me and the other people in Telegram, go to the Telegram chat right now, tag me, say, hey, Patriot Sounds, I want to help with marketing. I'll give you a marketing tag. And we're going to do this. We can all do this together, right? Because ADR021, this is specifically a deal with Kenton and the nodes and the strategy for marketing. There is no reason why the average holder of Rune, or even on the Rajira side, right? Because on these interfaces, there's going to be Rajira primitives on their web. There's no reason why we can't promote this together, okay? And I will definitely help anyone in this endeavor. So I just want to shout that to the community. Let's get this party started. I'm really excited. It's go time. This is marketing for real. We've always been doing this in some little way, but now it's time to really buckle down and get serious. So Kenton, when the time comes, when ADR021 gets going, the interface goes up, my goal is to have an army ready to help you. So let's fucking go, you guys.
Thanks, man. That's great. And you're right. Like I've had people in my DMs, like pros at SEO and pay-per-click, like, hey, I can help. I want to do it for free. And like, this is the power of our community, right? This is how we win, is we've got, all these, like THORChain is full of the community is really smart and successful people who want to, do things for free. I'm doing this for free, right? I'm doing it same way as you guys. Like I own a ton of Rune. I get yield from my nodes, you guys. Like I make the same money you guys do. I'm not getting paid for this marketing push. I'm getting paid the same way you guys are. And so maybe it's good if I kind of maybe back up and give everybody like the full picture. So I think it was in March, I started kind of running my mouth about marketing. And JP gave me, he basically, here, 250 grand from the treasury, go do what you want. And then I'm like, all right, cool. So I started looking into it. And then I realized Scorch, he had written this I found out he had written an ADR for marketing in January, like a draft that he's been working on, that he wanted to try and do something. So we kind of joined forces, bouncing ideas off each other. I started looking into all the different crypto marketing agencies. And like, guys, I get it. There's a lot of garbage out there. There's a lot of marketing strategies that are garbage. There's a lot of waste of money. And like, I'm like, these things don't work, or it's going to be expensive, or like I talked to one firm, like it's like, 120 grand for a couple months, but it's a black box. You don't see where the money's. I don't know how much is going to click. I don't know how much is salary. I don't know where it's going. And like, I'm like, man, like, how does this work? And then, so then I'm like, and back then I'm like, okay, we want to try and promote THORChain through like Trust Wallet or Ledger, our front ends, right? And I was going to start with Trust Wallet because I felt like that's her lowest hanging fruit. And it's just proving to be too difficult and cumbersome. We can't track the data. We don't have control like of the user because that's all in Trust Wallet. And then, and then even just trying to organize with them, like it took me like several weeks just to have meetings with people. Like it's so slow. And then, then we had this vote for the, moving the min swap free from 8 basis points to 5. And now, we're trying to get it back up to 8. And I'm like, guys, like, we're just like none of this is working. We're just like in a grind race to the bottom on fees. And like, we came in, like, how do you tell someone to use THORChain? Like, it's just, like, is our only way to get people to use THORChain just be the cheapest provider in the world? I'm like, it's such a horrible business to have. And so then that's what it dawned on me. Like, we need our own front end where, like, why are we squabbling between 5 and 8 basis points when our front ends are charging 50 to 100 basis points? Like, it makes no sense. So we need our own front end with zero affiliate fee. We just have our base fees. And then that we can market, that we can sell, we can promote that because we can link back to our website and we can track that data and we can see what works, right? With SEO and pay-per-click, we can get all the analytics, see what's actually working, what's doing what. And when I talk about marketing, guys, I promise you, I am not talking about the Thor truck. And I don't want to talk shit on anyone. We're all trying our best and doing good, but I don't think that was a wise move in marketing. I think I can do a lot better than that. And it isn't just me personally, or Scorch. Like we're talking to others. Like it's like we're trying to find, people, the smart people who do this. And it just so happens that 9 Rounds has been talking to a new marketing person about trying to fix THORChain's brand reputation online, because I don't know if you guys know, January and February weren't great news for THORChain. But like THORChain not having a communications department, not having a public relations department, not having like any kind of organized messaging, like it really hurt us, because you have all these journalists and all these negative Nancy's taking hold of the narrative and telling whatever story they want, and that story that dominates online. Meanwhile, we're just sitting here doing nothing. Like we're a bunch of pacifists in a war. Like if 2 countries go to war and one of them is a pacifist, which one's going to win? Like it's no question, right? And so THORChain's marketing strategy has been pacifism this whole time. How can we possibly win with that strategy? We can't. So we need to combat that brand, that reputation, that messaging online with positive stuff, right? It's that whole, right? Remember, guys, solution to pollution is dilution. We can't scrub those articles, but we can overwhelm them with positive content. And a lot of that content can be free, right? It's called earned marketing. Chad, you mentioned, you DM'd me the other day saying you're willing to do interviews and stuff again. I'm willing to do it. Patriot, you've been doing it, and this is, if we have a marketing person helping us, they can go reach out to these different platforms. They want content, right? They journalists want somebody else to write the article for them, right? Everybody wants to do nothing. Nobody wants to work hard, right? Everybody wants their job to be easy. And a lot of these platforms want content. And so we just need to reach out to them and find them. And hey, we'll give you some free content. We'll come do interviews, we'll come do stuff. Here's a story, publish it. We just need somebody out there doing that, like actually contacting, those platforms, right? So this is what's great with, we get to talk to this lady that 9 rounds has been talking to, it seems like she can help us do all these sort of things. So and if not her, then we'll have to find somebody else. But the point I'm trying to make is, this isn't just me and Scorch just sitting here, doing this, like coming up with their own things. Like we're trying to find like real people, real companies, who are going to do things properly and not for like stupid amounts of money either. The cost has to make sense. So yeah, maybe I should just stop there. See if you
No,
guys have
I thought that
Patriot, if
was
you have any
I thought that
questions
was
or
great, Kenton. I think that's great, and
yeah.
I like the ending how you ended it. You and Scorch and myself and Chad and whoever, we are not ADR21. Everyone can be ADR21. Everyone can contribute to this goal. And to Chad, I mean, the story of THORChain is one of it's extremely compelling. It is the classic story of the human condition: struggle, perseverance, determination, and pushing the idea of a free, emancipated world where children don't have to grow up under the same economic tyranny that we all grew up, where our purchasing power is being siphoned. In order to accomplish that goal, THORChain had to take risks. THORChain had to try to be innovative. With just doing cross-chain swaps, it wasn't going to cut it. That doesn't liberate anybody. We had to try to build something like the app layer, which is why THORFi happened. It didn't work out. It is what it is. We don't apologize for that. We say, yeah, everything was open source. It was the code, and we gave it our best shot. And every failure that we had was an opportunity to learn. And in fact, when you think about THORChain, we actually have like a 99.99 correct success rate, where all the different code changes we made, all the different lines, it worked. It's just always the negative stuff is always what garners the most attention. But to your point, Kenton, the solution to pollution is dilution. We now all have the story of THORChain in our hearts and our minds. We have the history to back it up, and we need to tell this narrative of what THORChain, why it was born, and what it has done. We can tell this story together. So that's why I'm telling everybody, get in the THORChain Telegram and request a marketing if you believe in this, like I do, just like Kenton, just like Chad. And anyone and everyone can go in. And if you have the knowledge, go talk on spaces. I've been really hitting up the XRP spaces. And now THORChain and Ruggira and app layer and no KYC and permissionlessness, these are common vocabulary terms from them now. They just simply are not aware that we exist, but we can all change that together. So let's go. Let's get this done. Chad, do you have anything you want to add? Because this is your space. I want to, and I'm so glad that you supported ADR021, man. And I just feel so good. And for the first time ever, not the first time ever, excuse me. I just really feel good right now. I feel like THORChain is like light and healthy and springy, and I'm just so excited to get going, you guys. It feels so good.
Yeah, I think for me, like I'm coming around to a more marketing approach that you guys are talking about, that Ken's talking about. I think my biggest concern about the marketing concept as it stands today is that we don't have enough capital investing into marketing to make it as effective as I would like to see it be, if I can make that argument. That's partially because fees are reduced on THORChain relative to like macro things, relative towards we have like we're no longer doing the emission anymore, and there's a whole bunch of reasons why yield is relatively low to its history. Room price is down, for example. And so that this 5% that it's producing is producing some kind of money to help kind of fund this thing, and I'm not sure if it's going to be enough. Like I would like to see more capital goes towards this marketing effort. That's a little difficult in today's kind of market conditions, but I think that'll change over time, and we'll have more kind of capital towards Kenton and the efforts that he's trying to put together, and be even more successful than he's going to be with whatever little capital we start with.
Actually, thanks for that, Chad, because I think it's been frustrating for me to try and get this through to people. Like 50 grand a month for you guys is nothing. Like that's water on a hot frying pan. Like it just evaporates. Like and like I still, even with the little bit of money, I do think we can stretch it out. I do think we can find something that works. But like I don't like it's going to work. It's just a matter of when. And the reason it's like marketing will work for us is because THORChain solves a real problem in the marketplace. Like we're not a solution in the search of a problem, right? Like how many times you guys have heard of like people in crypto, they don't know about THORChain. It's like, how does nobody know about us, right? And if we get, once people know about us and they finally figure out or understand what we do, like we are going to get more users and more volume. It's inevitable. We just have to, we have to reach people. We have to tell them. We have to make sure they find out. And so, with this ADR, with marketing, my intention for it, my goal for it is that like this marketing becomes a permanent fixture in THORChain, just like the dev fund. It should never go away. What should be reviewed and questioned is me, Scorch, the person, we hire to help us manage this. The people involved, absolutely scrutinize us 100%. You don't have to wait a year to scrutinize me. If after a couple of months you're like, Kenton, out of here, fine. Guys, I do not make money off running this marketing fund. I make money off Rune going up and the nodes going up. So if someone can come in there who can drive users and volume to THORChain better than me, I will be the first person to step away. I have zero interest in getting in that person's way. There's no entrenchment here or ego. Like it doesn't make any sense. And that's why, like, so Scorch and I are doing this for free. Shoot, I wanted to bring up something else. Oh, the money. Yeah. So like some people are like, let's try it for a couple of months, see how it goes. And it's like, that's kind of like saying just trying a cancer treatment for a couple of months and see how it goes. Like you keep doing whatever you need to do until you cure your cancer. And then once it's cured, you don't go back to the lifestyle that you had that got you cancer in the first place. You stick with the newer, healthier lifestyle. So like with marketing and sales, I don't know when it's going to kick in, when we're going to start, seeing the fruits of our labor. If it's going to take 2 months or 3 or 6 or 12, it's going to take a while. But there's the one thing we can start seeing right away is like if we're doing SEO and pay-per-click like that, we will be able to measure right away. But it's like, anyone who understands pay-per-click and pay-per-view, like you got to start out with like, a couple of grand a month type thing. Okay, is this working? Okay, then you start amping it up. All right, it's not working anymore. We dial back. Like it's a very iterative process, and it can take months before we find something that works. And meanwhile, we spent, like 10, 20 grand a month, whatever, trying it. Like it's just how it goes. Like you can't, there's no other way to do it. But if we have a lot of smart people, a lot of engaged people with experience doing it, I'm confident we can figure something out. It's just a matter of time. And then the other thing is like our reputation, our brand. That's a little bit harder to measure, but that'll definitely take time. We can't fix THORChain reputation online in 3 months. Like anyone who says that is lying to you. It is just not possible. It's going to take time, and won't be obvious at first, but it should be obvious after a year or two. And anyone who's still stuck on this whole THORChain is business to business only and shouldn't be marketing to users. THORChain we're having some integrations or potential integrations hesitate because of the negative news on THORChain. Like we have to fix, even if your mind is just stuck on THORChain only going into wallets, we still have to fix that reputation and brand online for those integrations, right? Like wallets, if they want to present to their users that they're integrating THORChain, they don't want their users looking and saying, oh, this THORChain, it's stupid, it sucks, all these problems, blah, 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 right? They don't want that. So like I posted Oracle the other day. Oracle is a business to business product. They spend more money on marketing than they do R&D. Like just because you're a B2B doesn't mean you don't do marketing or sales. You absolutely do. So what's great is if we are fixing our brand and reputation, everything online, it fixes everything, right? The B2B, the B2C, There's all these spillover effects. So yeah, maybe I'll stop there, guys. See if you have any comments or questions on that.
Well, I think this is a good segue to open up to questions for the audience. If people want to come up, we have chat up here. If there's any integrators who have any questions at all, but no, Kent, I'm totally aligned with you, man. I think that's perfectly said. And I think most people are starting to get it. This is something, like we said, that all of us can do. You're not getting paid to do this. I don't necessarily get paid to go and do all this extra free stuff or nothing. So, this is just our own hard work, and we can do this together. And I firmly believe that. And also, Kenton, it's really good. The Rogerans, they also have a marketing redundancy. I gave you a little hint on this, but just in case it doesn't work out, guys, the Rogerans have done a vote, and they have decided that if it doesn't work, we could always try big titty goth mommies and push memes, big titty goth mommies, and see if that works. So we do have a fallback plan, buddy, if your ideas don't work. Okay, just give me a there.
Well, God help us, my plan works then. Yeah, and if no one's coming up, I do have a list of all the criticisms I've seen, so I'm happy to go through them and point by point and address them if nobody wants to come up.
We did have someone request. I did approve them. I don't see them yet, though.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll just kind of start, and this is no particular order. Just kind of how I've jotted them down. I've had people say, like crypto is it's not a business. It's not trad. It's not like TradFi or anything like that. And I'm like, I think you're crazy. You're insane. Like crypto follows the laws of physics. Like Bitcoin follows the same laws of physics that gold does, and it also follows the same laws of economics that gold does. Right? Like THORChain is a business. THORChain is an exchange. It follows the same laws of economics that Uniswap and Binance and Hyperliquid follow. And if people insist on treating THORChain unlike a business, no investor will take it seriously. We have to view this like a serious business, it's a going concern. And people will say, well, Bitcoin didn't have a marketing budget, and I'm like, wrong. There's thousands of people spent millions of hours and billions of dollars pushing and pimping Bitcoin to the world. That's why it's one of the biggest brands in the world, because you had all that capital going into it. So to suggest that Bitcoin had no marketing, I think is like the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. And to compare THORChain to Bitcoin, it's like come on, guys, get over yourself. It's like saying Brad Pitt walks into a restaurant, women throws themselves on Brad Pitt. When I walk into a restaurant, why don't women throw themselves on me? Well, I'm not Brad Pitt, and neither are you. We're not Bitcoin, you guys. The sooner you recognize that, the sooner we can get over ourselves and start moving forward and actually getting somewhere. That, you have to understand the situation, circumstances we're in, and this is part of the push for having our own front end, is to give our thousands of THORChads something to sell, right? This is how many Bitcoiners with their friends in a pub, here, check out Bitcoin. This is how you use it. Download this wallet and do this. And the Bitcoin community made it very easy for each other to sell Bitcoin. Whereas the THORChain community has made it very difficult for each other to sell THORChain. With our own front end, our own interface, it will be much easier for us to sell it. Somebody sent me a DM here today that you go on CoinGecko, Ruji Rune is the highest trading pair, and it links to THORSwap. We need that to link to our front end, right? So yeah, there is marketing in all these other cryptos. Hyperliquid, people say, oh, Hype didn't do any marketing. Yes, they did. They had several months of what do you call it? You're doing trading and getting points to get the airdrop. That's marketing, you guys. Why can't we do that? We get our own THORChain interface. We do up some kind of trading program where we try to get users to farm points, and we give them a gift of TCY or something like that. These are viable strategies, way to try and get users that we can think about. And what's cool is, we can, like, everyone's taught, we can fork other people's marketing methods, right? So that worked for Hyperliquid. Let's try it for us. All that grassroots marketing for Bitcoin worked for it. Let's do that, and try and support that. So yeah, there's, the other one, okay, Polkadot. People are telling me that, Polkadot failed. Okay, so we don't do what Polkadot did, right? There's just because their strategy failed doesn't mean marketing doesn't work. It just means that strategy of marketing doesn't work, and we shouldn't do it. It's
To be
kind
fair,
of like,
Polkadot had a lot of reasons why it failed, not just marketing or something. You know what I mean? It's hard to blame marketing for that.
well, and are you saying like they had a shitty product, like it just
Well,
Polkadot?
yeah, there's issues. The product was unstable. I mean, this ecosystem was fairly weak, in my opinion. Like, there's lots of reasons to kind of like poke at Polkadot. And you could argue that maybe their marketing wasn't done well, and maybe that's true or not. To be honest, I don't even know what their marketing was even like. But it's just not a valid argument, in my opinion, because there's lots of reasons why Polkadot, didn't do so well.
Yeah, and THORChain is a fantastic product. Like, we just have to tell people about it. Like, how many times have you guys seen garbage products, garbage companies, garbage whatever succeed? Their token, their share gets a bid, and it's garbage, but people buy into it. It's because you have great marketing. Imagine combining great marketing with a great product. Like, we would be unstoppable. We just have to figure it out. So yeah, thanks for that, Chad. Because it's yeah, just because some people fail in some way, there's also maybe other reasons. It could have been a giant grift. Maybe Polkadot's marketing, they're just funneling it into their pockets. So this has been this is a valid question concern people had. How do you know that I'm not going to take, me and Scorch aren't going to take this marketing money and put it in our pocket somehow? It's a really good question, because this is endemic around the world in all industries. You have management teams who are double dipping, and they contract to businesses that they indirectly own and all that kind of stuff. This is why we want to put all our receipts and everything in a Google Drive. And so you can go look at it, you can go check it out, you can audit it. I want to be as radically transparent as we can. And part of me is like, God, it's just going to create more work, because there's always going to be some jerk who's just going to be a Karen about everything. But the flip side of that is, if anybody is really truly honest and looking at that, and you do understand the industry and how much things should cost, by all means, come tell us, hey, you guys are spending too much on this. This is what it should be. And you can help us and tell us where to go and get the lower fees, right? Like, this is a collegiate exercise, right? So the benefit of being transparent with it is that if people can find cost savings, we will implement them, right? And if we're not, or if we are doing something, then that's how you know that we're doing a bad job, right? But that's the best way I can try and prove it to you guys, is that we'll be as transparent as possible.
So in my experience, and we're going to get to the people who are on the stage. Thank you for joining up. In my experience, Kenton, don't let the loud voices carry much sway. When I talk to the numerous amount of people, because that's what I do, I manage the community in some ways. Honestly, it is overwhelming in support of ADR021. So yeah, I think people agree with you, man, 100%. And I think you've, especially all those threads that you posted talking about juxtaposing the marketing efforts of really successful companies and what they had to spend on it. I think you've made your argument, and I think people are pretty much locked up behind you. You've done a great job. Okay, we got some people up here. Beats, I'm going to shorten it. Beats.
Yeah. Hello, man.
Hey, what do you got for us?
Hi, everyone. Yeah, I have some question because, I think everybody agree with Canton on the importance of marketing, but the problem is, when I talk to other Tor guys, Tor Army guys, they are afraid about the change on the tokenomics. And can we talk more about the tokenomics and where you want to take the 5% for the marketing?
You're talking about removing the burn? Is that specifically what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Great. Oh, do you want to
No, go
pitch
ahead,
it? Or do you
Kenton.
want to?
No, you go ahead, bro. That's all you.
A great question, man. Thanks for bringing it up. So, guys, I actually like the burn. I do think it's great marketing.
Yep.
So, like I that being said, but at the same time, I don't think the 5% burn is doing anything to support the room price. So I was like, well, why do I like it if that's the case? Like, because I understand the value of marketing. I understand that like a lot of people buy things for the wrong reasons, right? We don't care what reasons people are to buy Rune. We just want them to buy Rune, right? And so if we want to, if this 5% burn is what keeps a lot of people invested in THORChain and interested, I'm all for it. Let's keep it. I was just kind of like reading the tea leaves, like between lines and stuff, like online, Twitter and Discord. I was starting to get the sense that a lot of people were against the burn and weren't liking it and wanted to get rid of it. And so for me, because I'm like I want this marketing 5% to go through. I'm like, okay, how can I do it with the least impact, or how do I sell it to the community? And so I was thinking, well, maybe there's a lot of people that want to get rid of the burn, so we can end the 5% burn and move that to marketing, and then there's no change in the yield going to nodes and pools. So it's like a cost neutral way to do it. If the community is saying, Kenton, we love the burn, we want to keep it, and we're more than happy to do another 5% for marketing, and have that another 5% reduction on nodes to pools, I am too. I'm totally cool with it. Like, let's do it. My goal is just to get this 5% going to marketing. I'm not worried about where it comes from, because I think the numbers are so low right now. It's not gonna materially affect anything. So I'm just trying to sell this to the community, right? So I'm not against and like, I'm happy to keep the burn. If everybody else is, fine, let's do it. Let's keep it. So I'm trying to, I don't know. I need the community to tell me, you guys, what everybody wants.
Yeah, in my opinion, I actually wouldn't mind dropping the burn and then just giving the burn to marketing. To be honest, I'm fine with that. Like, to be honest, I was never really for the burn. I was never really for removing admissions either, personally. But the community voted. So I'd prefer to see the burn, just redirected to marketing personally.
Yeah, I think.
Beats, are you there? Did we lose him?
I'm sorry. What's that, Kenton? Can you hear me?
Did we lose? I can hear you. Did we lose Beats?
No. I'm here. I'm here. Sorry. Yeah,
Okay.
you prefer the redirecting the 5% Patriot, but um, are you not the operator?
No. To be clear, I don't care either way. I'm fine. My opinion is the same as Kenton. Whether if people want to just do a straight transfer of 5%, remove the burn, or if they want to do an additional 5%, keep the burn and 5% marketing, I am agnostic either way. The important thing for me is getting marketing started. That is my important thing. But real quick, Beats,
Okay.
we have a lot of speakers that have joined up, so I want to make sure we move through. Because people might be, we'll definitely come back to you. Don't worry if you want. Okay, the next one was more, better, you. What do you got for us? Go ahead and check your mic.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yes, can hear you just fine.
Yeah. So regarding the burn, I feel that the 5% burn on a daily basis doesn't really make much noise. Doesn't make any difference. Maybe we should have like make it an event, like a quarterly event and we can have, now that we have an official marketing campaign being planned, we could have a drum beat going leading up to the event. That would make a more of an impact, I feel.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that I had regarding the burn. The other thing I felt was, now that we finally have an official marketing campaign being planned, is this the right time to rebrand THORChain? And maybe I had an idea, like if we rebrand it to like something like RuneChain, and we have runeswap.com, and then we have runebond.com, and we have Rujira as the app layer. We have one unified message to promote, and we put behind us, all the negative baggage that the Thor branding has carried. And this is a new rebirth. We are starting with an app layer. We are starting with a simplified base layer. I feel that it would be the marketing campaign will have a more unified message to convey,
I have an
and it will
anecdote.
create more noise in the market. So these are the two things that I wanted to bring up for discussion. So over to you guys.
Yeah, I have an anecdote exactly to that point about rebranding. I don't think this is necessary at all, particularly when I go, and there's some XRPers in the audience, by the way. Hey guys, thank you for coming. When I go to the XRP community, and I've talked to them now for months and describing what THORChain's done. In fact, Chad, I don't know if you remember this. I think it was back in 2022, 2021. I don't remember. But remember when the SEC clamped down on XRP, and said it was a security, you had said at the time, I don't remember if it was a space or an interview, but said if only XRP was available on THORChain, they could have just literally told the government to go kick rocks. I have told that same story to the XRPers. This is one of our founders.
This space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today.
Actually said that, and they see the articles, as Kenton's alluded to, the negative stuff. When you just explain to them the actual thing at THORChain, they love it. They love it. And THORChain's brand now is actually quite powerful and quite recognizable. I don't think we need to run from it. I think we just double down and we just fix the contextual nature around the marketing of that. I think THORChain has a great story to sell, and we should sell it. And so, yeah, I don't know if Kenton, you want to comment anything. Other than that, I'm going to go to another speaker.
Yeah, I can comment. Well, first off, this is I would like to talk to this about an actual professional to get their views. But my thoughts are no for a couple of reasons. One is just cost and time. You know, that we don't, like Chad said, like as it stands, like this grant from the Treasury and 5% revenue is like so little money. Like I don't think we have the resources to even consider it. Because if we're gonna do it, like, you know, we would want to like do it right, you know, like hire a real agency, spend real money on it to do it properly, and we just don't have that. And you know, part of my impetus for like trying to push this front end through now and get this marketing done now is like I'm convinced we're entering a new bull market here, guys. Like an altcoin bull market this fall. It's going to start, and you know, we need to do stuff now. So I think we stick with THORChain. I think, you know, my view is that like even people who are like have become disenfranchised with THORChain over the years still pay attention to it. You know, there's still, I think, you know, people once you understand and get THORChain, like there's no unseeing it. You know, you get it. So I think there's still a lot of value in the brand there. And then also, what have we been? We haven't done anything. We haven't been doing any marketing. Like in essence, we don't even have a brand. You know what I mean? Like let's actually try doing some like positive outreach and positive marketing and promotion. And if that's not working, then fine. Maybe then we look at doing a rebrand for whatever reason. But I mean, we haven't even tried to do anything, period. Right? So, you know,
I think, sorry, Ken.
No,
I
good.
think the biggest issue is that while we are promoting, if we are promoting using the Thor branding, there's bound to be some confusion with THORSwap and THORChain and the Thor token. So if we are putting serious efforts and big and proper money behind this, then we should make sure that, you know, Rune and THORChain are tied together strongly as a brand.
I can address
Yeah,
that. Do you know why there's confusion? Because THORChain's whole community was sending people to Thor Wallet and THORSwap. Just stop doing that. As soon as we have our own front end, we send people to THORChain, swap.thorchain.org. They're not going to know anything about THORSwap or Thor Wallet. They don't have to. It's never going to come up. So that's why it's been confusing and a problem, because THORChain's grassroots marketing has been sending people to these other platforms and confusing them. That's been our marketing plan, confusing people. So if we just stop confusing people and start making it easy for them, like let's try that first before we actually change the name and everything.
I agree, and I'm going to go ahead. This is a great questions, by the way. Let's.
I want to add to it. If THORChain's front end ends up doing really well, and I promise you guys, my intention here is not to try and suck users from the other front ends, right? I don't think that's the goal is to grow, not to be cannibalistic. But let's just say it is, and THORChain's front end is taking users away from Thor Wallet and Thor Swap. That'll force Thor Wallet and Thor Swap to rebrand and call themselves something different. So to try and get new users and whatever, right? Because if their whole shtick is just to try and promote THORChain, and people are like, well, I'll just go to THORChain. Why go to you? I'll just go use THORChain. It'll force them to rebrand. So yeah, I'm not worried about that. I think if we just stop sending people to them, we avoid that headache altogether.
Makes sense to me. Okay, guys, and I'm sorry, I don't know who.
Well, wait, is more better? Do you have any more questions, comments?
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. Yeah. Any comment on the burn, making it like an event rather than like a regular thing?
Honestly, I think so. If we're gonna, I think we burn tokens. We have nothing else to do with the money. Is a simple way to answer that. So, and I think we have a lot of things we can do with that money instead. So, if we get to the point where, like, THORChain is a global brand, we're the biggest crypto exchange in the world. We're doing Super Bowl ads. We got revenue coming in the yin yang. BPs are getting yield like there's no tomorrow, and we still have money left over. Devs are getting paid well. We're done doing development on THORChain and starting to ossify. All right, fine. Then we start burning. But I think in my mind, that's the way we should look at it. That we just have a better use for the capital now on other things.
I think what he was saying, Kenton, is if we do a burn, let's just say that's the will of the community, we incorporate that into the marketing strategy, and we do like a quarter release, like, hey, THORChain burned X amount of room.
I see. Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, totally.
Sort of like BNB, like BNB does.
Oh, totally. Yeah. I mean, absolutely, of course. If the community decides to keep the burn, that's why I like it, because I think I do think it resonates with people. Like to say that when I talk, especially normies, I talk to them about crypto and THORChain, they'll ask me what's the token supply, and I'll say, and this is why I wanted to end block rewards, because it's very simple for somebody to understand the value proposition if there's no inflation. And then we can say, well, it's actually the supply is deflationary. Like, so many light bulbs go off in their brain, right? And they just they latch onto that, and they think that's a huge feature. So believe me, guys, I definitely believe the marketing ability of having a burn, and if we do keep it, absolutely, we should promote it and talk about it.
I'm sorry, Kenton.
No, good. Go ahead.
Well, I actually think that might be what the burn's missing element is. A little marketing. Like, if you add those two elements together, it becomes super, super powerful. So I totally agree with you guys. Let's go to another speaker here. I'm going to go with the Coke next, and then Joel. Go ahead with the Coke.
Great space, guys. I really appreciate Kenton, the marketing effort, and the ADR021. A lot of was just said what I actually wanted to say, and I will just, I guess, emphasize that burning tokens. I get, yeah, it is easy for people to understand what's going on, but I think this is the most expensive way to use our revenue. We should not just burn. We can burn if we feel like the best exchange. We dominate the market. 90% of volume goes through us, etc. Then sure, yeah, we should burn. But at the moment, I think as Kenton is doing free work, Scorch is doing free work, Patriot, everybody else in community, we are doing free work to try to market, and just having this extra lift from the treasury, and then switching from burn to the marketing budget. I think this amplifies all these efforts way more, especially when we have our own front end. So I just wanted to say that burning tokens is the last resort when we are bonkers rich and we just don't know what to do with our money. So yeah, that's about it.
I think you're right there. Thank you for saying that. We're going to go ahead and by the way, I should actually say thank you with the Coke for the things you do in the background with recording these spaces as a redundancy. I really appreciate you, and I know the community does. So thank you so much. Again, someone who works for free. I love this community so much. You're all rock stars. We're going to go ahead and go to Joel. Go ahead, Joel.
Hey everyone. How's it going? I just wanted to say that obviously the marketing push is a good idea, trying to get more users, etc. One thing that I think that kind of explains some of these things too is historically it's been pretty difficult to actually use THORChain. And if you look at like the top volumes, it's almost always in integrated apps where it's like in something like say Trust Wallet or SwapKit's obviously killing it as always. Because it's like one of the few cases where you just want to swap and you just go to swap. And this has been kind of a big challenge after getting Dash in the Maya protocol. Being able to actually get anyone to use it has been a struggle because of the user experience. Because it's like, well, connect your wallet. We don't have any wallets that connect. All right, let's get in Control. Oh, Control, we paid them money, whatever. They didn't end up integrating. Oops. We'll get a key store. Oh, okay. Well, how do I do that? And just all the confusion around it. The fact that you can't just go to a website and interface and then just use it. The fact you have to look, well, which wallet do you use? Do you work this way, that way? And then combine that, of course, with almost every single time I do any kind of a swap of any kind on THORChain or Maya or any of these, the amount of times that I have like dust transaction problems or miscalculations of this, or just the actual product still feels kind of clunky. And so like I find myself, again, I haven't earned fiat currency in 10 years. I exclusively live in the crypto world. I find myself half the time using more centralized swap services when I need to go from an asset to another. And the other half when I use like this greater THORChain ecosystem, it's out of like principle, but not because it makes the most sense, because it's always more annoying, more clunky to use, etc. And like I think the memoless swaps is like the #1 big thing that could really change this, where you can just go to a website, scan a QR code, send to an address, whatever, and it just works, as opposed to having to do all this like connection and custom memo type stuff. I think that's a massive barrier. So whenever you're strategically thinking about the marketing push, about how and when you push a front end, etc., and I think that once memoless is active is where most of the attention should be saved up for that. If it is a matter of saving up a budget to deploy a campaign, that's how I would think about it, at least, because I'm kind of doing the same stuff in the Dash world where I'm planning exactly when to launch these campaigns based on product releases, based on products that in like, where will this get the most bang for our buck? So all that ramble to say, basically, get memoless, and then after that is when you should spend most of your marketing money. That's just kind of an idea I had.
Yeah, it's a good idea. And like, well, to be honest, we could A/B test, right? We can do, some pay-per-click for L1 swaps. We can do some for memoless swaps, and whichever one's winning, right? When we, and just put more money into that. Like, there's an argument to be made that, and I was talking to a pay-per-click guy about this, a community member who wants to work for free. He started a 9-figure online business, and he knows pay-per-click and all that kind of stuff, and he wants to help for free. And he's saying, just put all of the money into pay-per-click. Just get users. Don't worry about anything else. Everything else will come after the fact. And just drive users to the site. And maybe that gets honed in on just doing memoless, right? If the memoless transactions are a hit and people are into it, just push that. And but it's going to be, we'll just have to let the numbers talk to us, right? Which is what's resonating with people. Joel, you mentioned difficulty, using a wallet and stuff like that with THORChain. It's something I've been thinking about. Like when I was talking to Trust Wallet about promoting THORChain, I was talking to their BD people, and he's saying like only 1% of Trust Wallet users have ever swapped inside the wallet. And like when they go to conferences and stuff and they do surveys, like the vast majority of their users have no idea they can do it. And I'm like, well, what are you guys doing? How are you trying to fix that? I was like, well, I am. Like, that's my entire job, is to try and fix that. And so, it's not just, this THORChain difficult, being hard to use. Like these wallets are having a hard time communicating to users to get them to do it right. And so, and to be honest, like I have Control Wallet, and I'll be honest with you guys, lots of times I don't trade inside the wallet. I go connect it to another DEX, then I go trade on the DEX because that's what I'm used to. And so, maybe that's part of the problem is people just don't want to trade inside their wallets. They'd rather connect to a DEX because that's what they're used to. And us having a front end can help solve that. But going back to Trust Wallet struggling to get their users to trade in their wallet, well, maybe that's an opportunity for us. We're all smart people. I like to think are we some of the smartest people in crypto? Sure, why not? Maybe we can figure it out and crack that nut to figure out how to get people to do cross-chain swaps in their wallets. At least we can try. We can throw our hat in the ring and we can try and help solve that problem too. It behooves us just as much as it behooves Trust Wallet. But sitting back and waiting and hoping that everyone else is going to communicate to the market while we don't do anything, it's like, well, no, let's do what we can to try and do things. And if we're as smart as we think we are, we can figure it out. I know we can.
I think that's right. And I just want to shout out Joel. Thank you so much for your question and also being a friend of the ecosystem. He has a show weekly and I've attended it a few times. And I believe you have a big milestone coming up, man. So thank you for promoting THORChain and being a friend of the ecosystem as well. Really appreciate you, dude, very much. Okay. Oh, what days is your show on? Just so might as well go ahead. Since what days it typically gone? I can't remember. I apologize.
Which one are you talking about? So if it's
the one I did with you.
Well, you did both, but so
okay.
I
Thursdays,
have a live show every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern or 7 p.m. UTC. That's the one that's on my podcast, personal podcast. But for Dash, I run the Crypto Quorum space, which is 5 p.m. UTC every Thursday. And that one's a big one. That one's the kind of the bigger of the two, and you've been on both of those.
Right, that's right. Thank you. I'm on a lot of stuff, so sometimes it gets a little blurry. You're a rock star, man. Thank you so much, dude. Okay, we're gonna move on. I'm gonna do Slambammer, then Eric, then THORMAX. Go ahead, Slambammer.
Hi all. Yeah, I just wanted to say I'm a huge believer in marketing. Really appreciate the work that you've been doing, Kenton. I think it's going to be really beneficial to the protocol. I was also just wanted to say I think people are a bit jaded at the moment. I mean, I've seen nodes operators say they're worried about having an additional 5% come out of the revenue. I've seen the people saying that they're concerned about the change in the tokenomics. I think the saying that we're going to review it after a year or so is a good move, just so we're giving people that full warning. So we're saying that yes, there may be a change in a year. I think just the way that we manage the transition within the community is important, because I think people in general are feeling a bit tender at the moment. But yeah, I mean, if we just look at the increase in revenue over the last 2 days, I mean, when we see that, it just makes the pain from everything else seem sort of minor. And then I'm sure people won't mind the additional 5%. And I know, or I strongly believe that that 5% will go really far into increasing that revenue going forward.
100% agree. And those who know, Kenton did get rugged from the space, so he's trying to get back up. So, that happens a lot. Oh, good. He's a listener, so maybe we can get him back up here shortly. Yes, I totally agree, Slambammer. And by the way, guys, Slambammer is also a node operator. He is an excellent node operator as well. So I just wanted to shill you just a little bit, buddy. If anyone out there is interested in buying the rune, which I don't know why you wouldn't be. With all the things coming. You can consider Slambammer. He is excellent. Go ahead and DM him if you're curious about what, how it works and what his parameters are. And also make sure to use runebond.com. We built it, guys, to make the process effortless as well. So I just want to show you a little bit. Thank you so much for that, Slambammer. Eric, go ahead. I'm going to try and see if I can get Kenton back up here. Go ahead. What do you got for us, buddy?
Hey, mic test, because sometimes
You're great. You're great, brother. Go ahead.
Perfect. Dude, I love this conversation, and definitely, I mean, you knew probably like from 6 months ago that I'm a big proponent of marketing, and I'm so glad that this ADR proposal came out. I just want to mention a couple of things that might be useful. And I mean, Kenton already knows about marketing, and you're bringing an expert, so it's probably something that you already considered. But two things: I would love to see a comms guide for the community to follow on when they're trying to publish content, because when there's not a cohesive message, whenever someone reads a post and it uses certain words or it uses certain concepts that are not that well, maybe they are correct, but they are not so as aligned with the narrative, it kind of puts people off, or it might confuse people. But also, with all the memes and with all of the short content, I don't know how to say this, but a lot of it is cringe, and we have to find a way to resonate with the crypto people on X by following this, like I said, a cohesive message, but also, like, let's just say, avoid these kind of memes or avoid these kind of words, etc., etc. And the other one is more simple. There's a very low hanging fruit in conferences. When you go, for example, to Singapore token 2049, there's side events that you can just organize, and you can just host people, and you can name it, I don't know, the cross chain side event or whatever. It doesn't cost a lot, because you just have to get the venue and to get something for people to do whatever, get a few speakers, don't know, something. It's a low hanging fruit that we can consider, that maybe doesn't need a lot of budget, and it's going to be speaking directly to our user base, or to our potential swap user base. So it's just that couple of things that might work, or at least worth considering.
I think that's great, and I'm planning on attending that actual exact crypto current conference as well. So if anyone wants to come up and hang up, because I try and attend as many conferences as I can, and just try to promote the space. And I totally agree. Some marketing. I mean, honestly, brand recognition. Bad news is like sometimes considered as good news in marketing, because it just gets the brand up there. But I agree, there's definitely things we can do, which is why I mentioned earlier, guys, go to the THORChain community Telegram. And if you want to get involved in this, please ask for a marketing tag, and we will get this going. We will strategize and talk about marketing efforts, so we avoid the cringe elements, and try to maximize basically the efficacy of ADR021. Kenton, I see you're back. Go ahead and check your mic, buddy.
Mic check. You guys hear me?
I hear you. Great. I'm glad you made it back.
Okay, great. Yeah, me too. Something that happened last week too. I don't know.
Yeah.
Must be with my phone. Sorry guys, but I was listening. So I did, Eric. I think I heard most of your about the organized messaging. So I was actually talking to Nine Realms has a new BD person. Her name's Monica, and I was kind of chatting with her about it. And we need like a proper brand package for THORChain, like images, logos, colors, all that kind of stuff. So if people want to start, promoting THORChain on their own, they can. Better than sex seems to be the logo everybody likes. I kind of, or tagline. I kind of like it too. I was even thinking for investors, bigger than sex. That's why I've pitched THORChain to investors, is that we want to become the biggest exchange in the world. As far as like the cringe memes and stuff, like I kind of get it, but at the same time, it's like, well, let people. It doesn't have to be official from the THORChain marketing department or accounts, but I say let people run with it. Like everybody. Like look at all the nut jobs in Bitcoin, all the Bitcoin maximalists. Like they're the biggest liability for Bitcoin. But what can you do about them? I feel like, I don't know, maybe decentralized marketing in that sense, to just let everybody do their thing instead of trying to control it. I think it's kind of like freedom of speech. Like if somebody says something you don't agree with or don't like, you just ignore it, right? Don't give it any energy. And it'll just naturally go away. So I'm not, I don't think we have to worry too much about it.
I agree. And guys, I'm going to go to THORMax. And then I also, after THORMax gets done, I want to just make sure we open up the audience. If anyone has a question for Chad while he's up here, I mean, it's not often we get the guy. So if anyone has a question, but I think what's great, Chad, as I've noticed, is people are just so like, I've never seen the community so understanding and so locked in. Like, I really feel like everyone understands what the game plan is. So I'm really excited. So the fact that there may not be questions for you is actually a testament to how good you guys are doing. But anyway, THORmax, go ahead. What do you got for us?
Hey everybody, just a few thoughts today. On the 5% burn, I agree that it's, I've been a big advocate for the burn, and at today's prices, with today's volumes, 5% is pretty irrelevant. But it's always been this source of hope for me as an investor. I don't see a whole lot of reason to expect THORChain, is going to do amazing things at the moment, or, like there's things on the horizon, but the price action has not been great. But there's always this hope that, like, okay, there's this 5% burn out there, and then when Rajura kicks in or other things come around, if you 10x volume, then that's going to, increase the revenue, and then in dollar terms, it's going to, significantly scale the amount burned. So that sort of scaling property of it being a percentage has always been attractive to me. So I'll just throw that out when people are talking about the burn, like, yeah, today's volumes and today's revenue is really pretty irrelevant, but that doesn't mean it always would be. I think of it like a stock buyback on Wall Street, and I'm certainly no Wall Street trader or investor, but there's a reason companies do those, and it seems to work. And part of that is just I would agree that there's definitely marketing value in saying that, THORChain is, becoming more and more scarce. It's becoming more scarce. So just to throw those points out, it's like, don't just think about the dollar amounts today, because they will scale.
So that's just it though. Like it's a chicken and egg thing. Like let's take Gear out of the equation. How do we get volume up? We need users. Well, even to keep Rajira in the equation, we need users. Like Rajira is going to go out. They have a marketing people. They're going to go out and promote and sell and try to get users, right? Like the burn is only as good as the revenue. Well, how do we get revenue up? We need to get users. So like, everyone's clinging to this burn. Meanwhile, revenue is at like a 2-year low. I mean, like, when the burn started, we were burning like 3,000 rune a day. Now we're at 1,000 rune a day. Like everyone's precious burn is dwindling because revenue is dwindling. Like we gotta, focus on revenue, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I'm not putting that out there to like advocate for not doing marketing instead.
Yeah,
I think it's worth a shot. The burn's not doing much right now, but I would like, I would like to see a THORChain that has a significant burn also at some point. Maybe that comes a few years down the line when that's a better aligned with how the market is going and things are structured. But
dude, trust me, I get it. Like this is why again, from a marketing point of view, I get it that people like the burn.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it doesn't matter, somebody can have like with concrete proof that the burning tokens doesn't help the rune price. That won't change people's minds. They still like the burn. So it's like kind of like a stock will have a 1% dividend just so it can get included in dividend funds. Like the dividend is meaningless. Like it's not doing anything for anyone, but it's just getting them into a new audience of investors. And if the burn is necessary to introduce THORChain to an audience of investors to keep people interested and holding, I get it. That's why I'm happy to keep it. I have been thinking about. There's two things I've been thinking about. Maybe Chad can help answer one of them. One is, what if we went to 1% burn and 4% marketing? That might be a compromise. And then the other one is, if we did end the burn on revenue to put towards marketing. Chad, what about all those fees, like the 0.02 rune and the extra gas fees that the protocol makes money on? That goes into the reserve, right? And could we maybe look at burning those, and then we still keep the burn narrative alive? And having those tokens go into the reserve really isn't doing anything for anyone. Could we do that? Would that make sense? Is that possible? It'd be a lot of dev work. Or is it?
It's certainly possible. I'm not sure how much dev work off the top of my head. I know JP and I had a conversation recently, like last week, about all the extra rune that's currently going into the reserve right now. Just instead of going to the reserve, just going to the system income, so that it increases yield, but also burn, but also TCY, like everything gets basically kind of like bumped up some. Up to my head, I don't know how much room the reserve is actually collecting per block or per day or whatever. I don't really know how that number offhand, but that was one discussion we had. It was just to throw it into the system income and have it just kind of boost more or less everything a little bit.
Well, that might be. I was trying to look it up yesterday. I thought it was on THORcharts, and I can't find the chart for it anymore. So I was trying to look up the amount. But yeah, that'd be great too. Just have it go to system income, and if it represents a few percent, I mean, maybe there we go. We can keep the burn, do the 5% revenue, have those extra fees get added on to our revenue, so it's still almost net neutral. It's not too much of a hit. So instead of like 75% being paid out, maybe we're only at 70. Oh my god, my numbers are all mixed up. 79% or something, 78%. So maybe everybody, kind of best of all worlds. Yeah, it'd be interesting to know what those numbers are.
Another thought along those lines: if we're going to be burning Rune, I would hope that we're buying Rune off the market with the fees, the affiliate fees, whatever the fees, and so it's getting bought off the open market rather than just being internal accounting coming off the reserve or something. Seems like that would be more effective. Maybe I'm getting the tokenomics wrong. It's irrelevant, but at least from a marketing point of view, it seems more important that it be bought off the market. And similarly, with this, 5% or 50 grand a month or whatever it is, it occurs to me that there may be months where nothing happens. Everybody's busy with real life stuff, or programs are rowing and things have been paid for, and a few months go by where nothing happens. Then, like, is this building up in a marketing fund, which sounds good for a couple of months, but if X number of months go by per year, pretty soon you've got $1 million, $2 million marketing honeypot sitting there, and at that point, maybe you guys have passed it along to other people, and somebody new comes in, and maybe they're not as honest about it, and then their girlfriend is now got hired at a marketing firm, and next thing you know, there's a major contract going out for really not all that much, and that honeypot gets basically looted for not much value. And so part of me wonders, if the money doesn't get spent on marketing in 1 month, then should that money go to some other purpose? Maybe it's the burn, maybe it's something else.
It's good.
Another thought I've been having a lot of, if you just let me
Yeah.
segue here, like I and a lot of other LPs are still out here, like, walking wounded out on the battlefield after the THORFi collapse. TCY did a lot to appease the and repair the lost goodwill for savers, and but we still got all these LPs, and we're all sitting at, like, a few days this week it was minus 100% loss, like literally everything is gone, and the LP position is negative. And then Rune price goes up a little bit, and maybe I'm at a 99% loss. But that's still like a big wound for me. And early on in THORChain, back in the multi-chain chaos net days, I recall, first of all, there was ILP, which gave this certain amount of reassurance that, like, okay, I'm dealing with people that are good and honest and reasonable, and they're going to make things right, and da-da-da-da-da. And then I understand all the reasons why ILP had to go away and it shouldn't come back, and even that was tokenomically problematic. But it sort of sub-communicated, like, THORChain is a safe thing to invest in. And then there were hacks, and people were covered for those hacks. And it's like, oh, okay, we're dealing with some really honest, moral people here. And that makes THORChain feel very investable. And it's part of the reason I've been so loyal to THORChain, despite all things that have happened. But these days, after this THORFi collapse, and here seeing lots of things on Twitter that are just like, well, you knew the risk, tough crap. And it's like, well, the way that collapse was not within what was, expected as normal operating parameters and whatnot. So I use myself as an example of what I assume is a much larger cohort of people out there that are still, as I say, the walking wounded from that. And if you want to improve, public relations and all of that, repairing that damage would go a long way towards, reputational damage, let's call it. And so that's another one of the things. Like, well, if the marketing doesn't get, 1 month of that marketing budget would almost make me whole, and probably a whole lot of other people. And if that happened a couple of times here and there, like, that would go a long way. Or anything to juice that, save the LPs. And there's probably way more sophisticated ways to do that. That might involve whatever happens with LPs and leverage. But lately, I've been seeing a lot of talk on Twitter that's just like, well, screw the LPs, basically.
I know what you're talking about, and I don't share that view at all. And I'm an LP myself, also suffered a significant financial loss. I don't agree with that at all, not at all. And especially like LPs, it's hard to know as an LP, like, because a lot of people like the argument like LPs knew the game. Like, I don't think that's right at all. I mean, it's very hard for someone who's not a developer to understand the exact behaviorism of code, right? You have to try to parse the data. So I'm right there with you, Thormax. I've taken a huge financial hit as well as an LP, so I feel your pain. My goal is definitely, just let the LPs just chill out. Let's push this marketing thing as hard as we can. That's why I'm so eager to get started. And so that we can get Ruin appreciation up, and then we can absolutely come to the defense and really help some of the most loyal and best members of the community, which has definitely been you and many, many others. So I hope that gives you a sense of feeling okay. I know it's painful to look at that LP position. Oh my God. See a negative 100% is just like, oh my gosh. But as you've said, when the Rune price appreciates, it starts to look a lot better. I really want to turbocharge that. And for anyone other out there who's LPs, just think of what's going on. Finally, the system is not leveraged. We've got Ruggiera, Mocha's going to be starting in September. We got Kenton. We got the marketing thing going on. We have all the amazing innovations and advancements that are Chad B that are going right now. Things are really looking good. It's painful right now what it is. Sit tight. If anyone ever mentions, liquidating the LP, I'm be honest. I don't know if anyone else agrees with that. I'm going to be very against that. Let's try and fix it. Let's try to bring everyone out of the hole together. I think that would be, as you said, the best public relations thing we could possibly do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't just bring it up, like, oh, poor me and make me whole and blah, blah, blah. I just bring it up because, like, let's recognize that this is a black eye on our community here. And it's, something that needs to be dealt with. So, and is an opportunity perhaps to, improve public perception of the chain and all of that. And I think I think that's a little corner of THORChain that's easy for people who weren't LPing to sort of forget about. So.
Won't be forgotten by me.
Well, how do we fix people taking risks they don't understand?
Well, it's not that. It's not that. It's the risk is not adequately communicated, and so they can't understand. They can't understand because I have educated on this, especially when it comes to leverage and synths and savers and lending and how it all works. And I even gave out bad education because I didn't understand how it worked and the severity thing. So I take some accountability here as well, right? It's a very convoluted thing. It's not as simple as saying that LPs were playing in the casino and they lost. I just am so against that because LPs stayed in ChaosNet not to win money. They believe the original mission of we are trying to build something special here that liberates the world. And particularly down ChaosNet, it was communicated, you may lose everything. LPs stuck it through knowing that, and they supported the protocol during our hacks before we had POL, right? They could have left and it could have left THORChain ruined, right? So this is one of the most powerful and devoted aspects of our community. And I'm not excusing, of course, it's not about communism and making losers winners, but if there is an opportunity here to make everyone do well, if we can get this marketing thing and help lift everyone and rise all boats this tide, I think we should go for it rather than just write them off right away. Let's give it some more time because we have so many good things going for us. It's not communism, I promise. Let's give it an honest go. Let's give it a shot. And I really think, Kenton, that we can really get this going.
I understand, and I trust me. I've been in THORChain for 4 years. I know everything going on, you guys. I get it, and I understand the casino comments are harsh, but like both of you just have said that you didn't understand the risks, yet you put money in it anyway. Like that's
Kenton,
like,
even the devs didn't understand the risk.
Yeah.
Or if they
well,
did
okay.
know the risk, then that's, then it's
So let me
just
let's rewind and
criminal.
tell you how you can trust Kenton. I did understand the risk. This is why when they canceled, go look back. I think it was ADR5, and when the nodes canceled ILP, and I'm like, what is going on? And I freaked out on everybody. You can't treat people like this. You can't abruptly remove ILP. And I pushed everyone to give it that influenced everyone to give it a 30-day notice period, to give LPs a chance to withdraw, right? Don't just change the terms on them instantly like this. And I'm serious, read that whole thread, you guys. And I'm sticking up for you, for the user, for people that don't understand. And I understood it completely, that we get rid of ILP and we add savers and synths. It's impermanent loss squared. Who's going to take that risk? That right? And so this was my concern, is that we move away from ILP to then savers. It's like I don't know how to I don't know how to explain it, but it's you're. I was worried we were going to have a bank run then, that no one's going to want to stay in the pools because no one's going to want to take this leveraged ILP risk. But turns out lots of people were happy with it. So all right. Now, and it was communicated back then too, that if you don't want this risk, this is what savers is for. Go into savers. And this is why I was fighting savers this whole time. I was trying to end it and get rid of it, the synth leverage. I've been fighting it ever since it came out, you guys. I was fighting lending ever since it came out. So, I understood the risks. This is what part of me that makes me mad, is I'm still here. I stuck around. I still got burned. I understand the risks, and I still got burned from it all.
Right.
I've been screaming at you guys, everybody, for years about this. So, that's how you can trust me. And so let's bring it back to the $1 million in the dev fund. It's a great question. You're right. So what if, okay, Kenton, we trust you, you're not going to do anything shady. What if I quit? What if I leave? What if I die? Right? What's going to happen? I don't have a good answer for you. Hopefully, Scorch, I trust him. Hopefully other people involved, we can trust them. But it is I actually would like the dev fund to get to that point where we are kind of getting a point where we can't spend the money fast enough type thing. We're just becomes wasting it. And we do let it accumulate a bit. And then that'll help us weather the bear market, so that when our revenue goes down and the marketing fund goes down, like the marketing fund income goes down, we've got this war chest that we can stay on. It can stay on higher during the bear market. And we're getting to the point, we're already there, guys, where we are going to have to pay wallets to get integrated. It's coming. They're going to call it grants or partnerships or whatever you want to call it, but it's a bribe. It's good. It's already happening. It's going to happen. And so if we build up that war chest and a marketing budget, we use that money to go buy our way into these wallets, into these platforms. So there is a reason to save some money in the fund so that we can have a bit longer term planning with it. But yeah, I don't know how else I can say you can trust me other than my track record over the last 4 years.
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
we trust you. You're beloved in this community. You're an absolute rock star, and dude, I would trust you with my life. I think you're a great dude, and I appreciate your hard work. I know you and I have talked for a long time. I don't want this, THORMax. I totally hear you. I don't want the community, this conversation to consume the whole space, because it is very. But I'll just say, I love what we're doing here, and I just want to see how it pans out. Let's really hit this marketing thing full force, you guys. Let's keep it positive. Let's keep the good vibes, and I'm willing to go as hard as I possibly can to make everyone in this community be much better. But we do have some new speakers, so if that's okay, I just want to go. I'm going to go to Graham. Graham has his hand up. Go ahead, sir.
Before you jump off, I'm going to jump off the call, guys. Been hanging around for the last couple hours with you. but I just got some other plans to get to. But just want to say goodbye, everybody, and I'll see you all soon.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much,
Chad.
dude. You're a rock star. Thank you for your time, brother. And keep going, man. We're so excited to see what you're doing, dude. I'd love to talk to you again when we get that stuff shipped, bro. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll be around. We'll talk soon.
Bye, brother.
All right, cool guys. I'm gonna keep this short and sweet. But anyway, pleasure to talk to you all. I think this is a very tight community. Been part of it for far too long. But I'm excited by this concept. I am in, numerous conversations with builders, funds, liquid funds, ventures, like degens, the whole shebang. And I think we have to appreciate that in this Solana cycle of like meme coins and everything, we onboarded so many users that have no idea what this product is. Like, full stop. I talk to people who are very deep in the space, who are living it 24/7. And if I mention either of the products, whether they be THORChain, which I'm like a little more surprised about, or Rujira, literally full stop, nobody knows anything about it. So, in my opinion, I mean, to honestly take a quote from Lenin, cinema is the greatest weapon of all, which was really about the camera and about marketing and messaging. It was emblazoned over Mussolini's production studio. So, like, this is a very real concept, but I'm excited to see the word get out there. I have worked with, Avalanche, Polygon, time and time. Like, you need some messaging. And I do think the product is at a really healthy place right now to start from like base layer, but we need awareness, and it's quite simple. So, like, hell yeah, Kenton, go for it.
Love that, man.
Yeah, cheers.
Love
Thanks.
that.
No, you're right. Like, cinema, it is everything. Like, that's how. Because look at all the propaganda in the world. Like, it's cinema. It's all messaging. It's all marketing. Like, yeah,
Correct.
right? Like, it's nothing to like. Everybody always wonders, like fiat. Like, fiat has a fantastic marketing department. Like, that's why everybody uses it. Tyranny has a fantastic marketing department. Like, it's all marketing. It's all messaging. And
Yeah. And like, even Bitcoiners are not necessarily up to speed with this thing, which is kind of nuts, because I think that's sort of the core of where I approach this from, which is the liberty of Bitcoin and to be able to swap. And quite frankly, after all these years, the first app I ever used was Shapeshift, and like, props to it. But it's like, we still can't do really good cross-chain swaps. And obviously that's picking up steam and there's getting to be a lot more competition. But I mean, I'm just shocked when I talk to people and they're like, I don't even know what that is, dude. And that's, again, around THORChain. And if they do know THORChain, they know the history, which is more unsavory versus like where it stands today. So I'm just in full camp, like, pump the volume and let people know.
Love it, man. And I
Right
love
on.
there's someone transmitting sound. I love the historical anecdote used there. I think that was perfect. Well done. Slung you a follow, brother. Good job. And real quick, guys, just to refresh the space here, guys, go ahead and share it if you haven't shared it already. A lot of good information has been said over here. And to the haters out there who say these spaces should be no more than an hour, I have no idea how to do that. There is so much we have to talk about. And I love giving a platform to people come up here to speak their mind. I think it's healthy. It's a normal releasing the pressure, like opening a valve, because everyone has these thoughts. Everyone has these internal dialogues. Everyone has these, understandings or misunderstandings. This is the place where we come. Kenton and I will go as reasonably long as we can to make sure everyone speaks, everyone's heard. And Graham, I'm really happy you came up and said that. I could not agree more with you. We got a new speaker, JR. Go ahead. Check your mic, buddy.
Hey, Patriot. How are you?
I'm well, man. What do you got for us?
Not too much. Just going over the same kind of stuff. Like with the LP, same thing. I put a bunch of money in there over time, and I never thought that it would go to zero, right? I thought either I would end up with a bunch of Bitcoin or a bunch of Rune, like worst case scenario, right? Like if one went to zero, the other one I'd accumulate a bunch. So yeah, that might have been my misunderstanding there about how that went. I knew that the ILP protection was gone, but I still thought that it would work as a regular pool. But anyways, just back to the marketing thing. I totally support Kenton, and I think that, yeah, it's more like a dividend paying stock versus a growth stock. You don't usually have growth stocks paying out dividends, right, until they're more mature, and then they don't have usually a dividend's a confession that we don't have a use for the money, right? So we're giving it back to you. But since we do have a more productive use of it, I think that that's probably the way to go. But like I've said to Kenton privately, in some DMs and that. It's like I do like the burn, not because I think it's doing much. We burnt almost 1,850,000 or whatever in just over a year, and it's really picked up recently, gone from 0.5 to the 5% mark. But all this UI that's been built up around it is pretty cool. Like you can watch and see the metrics. That's what I love about THORChain, is that you can literally see where every Tor is going, right? Like you can see it, and there's no fraud or anything in the system, because it's all like you can see exactly where everything is going. Anyone can see it, so it's pretty cool. But yeah, if we could reduce the burn back down to 0.5%, right? We're talking that's $50, $100 a day at current rates. You can still keep that narrative alive, and I think it's pretty cheap for the amount of money that we're spending on it. It seems pretty reasonable if we just gear it back. I don't think it has to stay at 5%. But
well, I don't know if you guys noticed, we had those huge slip fees we
incurred yesterday, huge,
and I think we had over 10,000 rune get burned yesterday. So that's really powerful. Yeah. That's really cool. Yeah. Only we need to get that revenue up. And to Kenton's point, I think if we get the revenue like 100x, man, imagine what that's going to do and how sexy that'll be. And so, yeah, I think you're right. And guys, I just got to say it again. I think it's time that we all rally behind Kenton, Scorch, ADR021. If you're a Rogerin as well, especially because the same primitives that you guys are building, they're going to be available on the THORChain interface at some point in the future. We must maximize the traffic at this site. Get people used to going to THORChain, trusting it, enjoying it, get the positive vibes. I really encourage everyone, because I got to tell you guys, me and Kenton, during our darkest moments in January, February, we were in DMs a lot. We stuck together. We did spaces. I'm not taking credit for anything, but, definitely Kenton really stepped up. He helped us, and he did all that shit for free. I know he's invested in Rune. He wants Rune to do well, but I think it's time now. We got to invest in Kenton. Guys, let's pay it back. The karma is real. Let's give him a shot. He's going to spend money, but there is no damn reason why we can't all rally behind him and push his efforts for free, because ultimately it pumps your own bags and it makes the interface better. It makes Rogera better. It makes everything better. So let's go for it, guys. And I just really hope that message transcends to everyone listening, whether you're listening live or the recording. We're really onto something special here. I feel it. I think about the first principles and I get really warm and fuzzy inside. It just makes sense. The logic is congruent with the emotions, right? I prefer logic as much as I can, but I emotionally get excited when the logic tells me I should be. So guys, let's do this thing. Did you have anything else you wanted to add to that, Kenton or JR?
No, I'm all good there, Ken and Patriot. You guys are doing a great job. Appreciate all the work you're doing, pumping my bags, and it's not happening yet, but I'm sure that it will. And but yeah, you guys are awesome.
Thanks, brother.
Thanks, man. Thanks, Patriot. I do appreciate that. Thank you. But honestly, guys, I don't want you to rally behind me. Rally behind marketing, right? Like I said, this isn't about me doing this pet project. Kenton's experiment. This should be the THORChain community nodes acknowledging and committing to marketing THORChain for the rest of its existence, right? That's the way you should look at this. And I'm happy to kickstart it and get it going, and stick with it for as long as I can, right? But maybe I fail, right? Maybe I'm not doing a good job. But that shouldn't mean stop marketing, right? That shouldn't mean pull me aside. I can't. We need to go a different direction. Please do that. And I'll be honest with you guys, I don't want to work for free for very long either, right? Like, I hopefully this works and pumps my bags, right? And then it does make sense for me. But yeah, this shouldn't be about a vote for Kenton. This should be a vote for marketing and to do it properly for THORChain.
I totally agree. Let me clarify. Rally behind the vision, because as you said earlier, Kenton, what if you just suddenly die, or I die, or whatever happens? You keep the vision alive. You rally behind the thought, the ethos, the marketing ambition. That's what I mean. ADR021, guys. That's what I really want to do, because I really think we're onto something. So well said, sir, and good clarification there, because you are very humble and you abstract yourself away from the equation, as you should, as a honest, logical thinker. So thank you. We have another speaker, guys. After Math, go ahead.
Hey, GM. I'd like to officially reinvigorate and bolster brilliance in simplicity. And we all should agree to start where we are, work with what we got, and do some target acquisition and prioritization and just go for it. And given the budgetary constraints, perhaps, like, I hate to say the word commission, but maybe a value for value proposition for marketers hitting benchmarks to get rewards, or being paid in equity, or deferred delayed gratification may be the way to go. And after being 66 plus months deep into THORChain, I remain ever faithful and believe wholeheartedly that the talent of the devs and the steel balls on gentlemen like Kenton and Slambammer coming up here on Spaces and having a vulgar display of balls is to be commended, and we should support these guys. Because honestly, it doesn't matter what the hell the devs do if the node operators don't vote for it, it's not going to get implemented. And I simply think that, and I've said it before in prior spaces, that we can force multiply. There's a lack of educational outreach, and that goes for the currently existing integrated wallets and coins, outreaching those communities, those users, the administrative body of them as well. It's all underserved, and I'm dead certain we can do better. I, for example, am happy and willing and able to just go after it, guys. You identify each.
Hey,
Please go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I totally agree with you. Your mic is a little rough, and I was going to say something. It's barely tolerable. We can understand, but yeah, the mic is just a little bad. But I totally agree with you, and I'm actually glad you mentioned that, because someone came up with that idea yesterday. Someone's going to look into. I don't know, guys. This is just me, just freeballing here, spitting. But someone's going to look into maybe like Cato, if we can have like a community thing where, you know, maybe we can have like little rewards for the best, you know, show like the best marketers in the community. That was someone floated idea. They're going to look into it. I'm going to look into it. Don't know, but I really like that. I think the incentives are good, right? I mean, I want anybody to just start marketing THORChain, and, you know, maybe the best marketers have, I don't know how you would measure that yet, but they would get a reward, but maybe a small random reward if you market at all, so that anyone can win. Even if you do 5 or 10 minutes of marketing, at least you've got a foot in the door. And I don't know if that would be a time weighted thing. I have no idea how it would work. I'm really just spitballing here, but I agree. And yeah, and I appreciate you saying balls, because I think this community is the ultimate case of steel balls. I totally agree. I think this is a very war-hardened community, very passionate community. And that's what makes me so bullish. I think the Bybit thing was very illuminating for me when it comes to the robustness of everyone. So I appreciate that, man. But yeah, get the DMs. Maybe we can try and get a different mic, because I think you really struggle with that. You might need, I don't know, you might have, it just might be broken. It's
every Saturday, same bullshit. I'm on Spaces all week long. Every Saturday, my audio is shit. So
yeah, I don't know.
And yeah, if a space is launched via a mobile app, comments will be enabled and greater communication thereafter.
Yeah, I don't know. We tried that. It still doesn't work. I don't know. We have tried that. I don't know why when we do spaces, comments are not here. We've tried literally everything. People tell me that. People have also told me we need to do something else. I don't get it. We tried our best, so it is what it is. Kenton, were you going to say something?
No. Well, kind of. I was going to say, you know, I want to try and avoid our echo chamber, because everybody will seem to agree. So I was just trying to think of like more criticisms and like to address people's questions, because no one's really doing that. Another one was a criticism I've got is, you know, THORChain should stay business to business and not, you know, not do B2C. And the best, I mean, it's not a, I think a lot of people view these things as like either ors. Like it's not, it's an and thing. We can do both, right? It doesn't have to be one or the other. We can do both. And like, you know, Chad alluded to this or said this earlier in the space, that like, you know, things are changing. The landscape is changing. You know, THORChain needs to evolve and change with it. And YouTube started as a video-based dating site. Shopify, it started selling snowboards. Right? Instagram was initially a location check-in app called Bourbon. Like, these mega brands and businesses all started doing one thing, and they just kept following where the money was and what was working, and evolved into what they are today. And THORChain has to do the same. And if if evolving from B2B to BDC is the way we go, so be it. If that's that's what it takes to make money, that's what it takes. And even though I think all our efforts should go towards promoting our front end and getting users there, it doesn't mean we stop getting and being in these other wallets. It just means it becomes more free optionality for us instead of our bread and butter, right? I think if our front end starts becoming our bread and butter, then we have less and less reliance on the front ends. But who knows? We'll see. Maybe Trust Wallet figures it out, and they can get 10% of the users, trading in their app on a monthly basis, and all of a sudden that becomes our bread and butter. Then we reevaluate. How do we better service that and capture that, right? There's no reason we can't be trying all these different ways to win, right? And doing this marketing, having our front end, it just adds to our potential for winning on Trust Wallet in Ledger and getting those users to act, right? It all plays in together. It's not taking away from anything. So yeah.
Well said. I'm going to kick it to the audience one more time, or if the speakers have anything else, please invite if you want to ask something. We're going on 2.5 hours, and I think Kenton's right. I think we've talked about a lot, and we're approaching the point where the signal is turning into noise because we're kind of going on the same theme. If anyone has any criticisms of the marketing thing or think it's a bad idea, Kenton is more than happy to have a dialogue with you. So please request to come up now and let's have a conversation, because he's as transparent as he comes. But so far, it's just been nothing but love.
Yeah, if I've ever come across as defensive on replying to people, it's because I feel like people are attacking the concept of marketing, not me. That they're attacking the idea of marketing itself, and that THORChain shouldn't do it. And for me, that's really frustrating, because it's like basically people saying we shouldn't sell our product. Here's another criticism that people say, it just won't work. Marketing THORChain, it just won't work. And it's like, well, if we can't market THORChain to get people to use it, how do we expect Ledger and Trust and other wallets to market THORChain to get people to use it? Like, it doesn't make any sense. You're basically just admitting and saying that no one will ever use THORChain. No one will ever figure out how to get users on THORChain. Like, honestly, it's probably the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Like, marketing will work. We just have to figure it out. We just have to figure out the messaging. We just have to figure out, how are we contacting these people? Like, we just have to keep doing it till we figure it out. And I can guarantee you, doing nothing is not working. So we got to try something. I think the bigger concern or question sounds like, well, especially if people are talking in the space today, it's not so much whether we should, sounds like people are more or less on board with marketing. It's how do we pay for it? Where does that money come from, right? So that I don't have a sense for, the nodes or the community, how much will there is to end the burn versus keep it. But yeah, I do understand, see the value in keeping the burn to keep people interested. I do get that.
Yeah. I totally agree. And let's see how it goes, you guys. And if it's really successful, I think that'll bring up an interesting conversation is, should we allocate more to marketing, right? I think most of the thing is Rune appreciation, right, Kenton? I mean, that's the biggest winner right there. And if Rune's really appreciating, I wouldn't be surprised if people are just like, oh my God, let's do 25% marketing budget. I know that sounds crazy right now, given the revenue, but you guys got to think.
It's not crazy. If we can, like the stuff like trying to fix our brand in articles and reputation online, like that's hard to measure, right? We don't know exactly what's working and when, but the pay-per-click stuff, that is literally measurable. And if we find a formula that's like obviously working, and we can go to the community and say, listen, we're spending X dollars and we're making Y, like we throw as much money as possible to that until it stops working. This is why Google and Facebook are mega businesses, because it's all pay-per-click advertising. That's why all this data is being farmed from everybody to enable pay-per-click advertising so that it works, right? Like, let's take advantage of that. Let's use that, right? So absolutely, like if we actually find something that's like obviously working, we just throw the kitchen sink at it until it stops. Because like revenue going up, volume going up, revenue going up drives the room price. That solves all of our problems across the board. And so that's why I'm so like in beast mode right now to try and do this, because like we need to do everything we can possible to get our revenue up. Like and I'm doing what I can, what I know I can, like, push forward and make happen. This is what I'm trying to do. Well, and this is actually another thing. People thinking this is taking away from others. No, like I'm getting involved. Scorch is getting involved. We're getting new people involved. The Unstoppable Wallet guys, they're the ones building the front end. Like everything I'm talking about and is being done is not taking anything away from Chad, anything away from Nine Realms, anything away from Rajira or the other devs, what they're working on. This is all in parallel. So like we are adding extra ways for us to win. So I feel like that's an important thing to understand too. Like this isn't taking away from anything else. The only taking away is this 5%, right? Where are we going to find that money from, right? That's going to take away from something. That's what we have to decide. But as far as the people and everyone working on it, this is all fresh blood, new eyes.
Yeah, and actually that's really funny you bring that up, because I think that's one of the things, like the people listening right now, like I'll just shout someone out I met in real life was Max Power. I got to meet him in Las Vegas. Super smart guy. And everyone in the audience is probably a very, very intelligent person. There is so much untapped potential. If you guys are still in THORChain, you guys understand the mechanics. You have demonstrated, in my opinion, that you are definitely very, very smart and very committed. And so I just want to activate you guys. Let's do anything we can and help the core team, help push ADR021. We have a new speaker, Surge Flow. Go ahead.
Hey everyone. So I've been pitching to Kenton on the side about one of the ways we could do marketing. Overall, I think it's a good idea to do marketing. Like the main thing that I get from my side of, or my circle of friends, is they don't know anything about Rune, obviously, or THORChain, but they know about Bitcoin and Ethereum at least, and a bunch of other meme coins. But yeah, I basically was telling him that I had a side business, and with that side business, we were able to generate at least 100K in revenue. It's really niche market, but basically what we did was it was just the very simple like YouTuber marketing strategies where you go to YouTubers, you're like, hey, this is our product. We even send them our product, but in this case, we don't have a product to send. But I'm just trying to get the point across. So we send them the product. They do like a little 10-second, marketing or talk about what the product is, and they're trying to get people to buy that product from our website, and we give them a code. So every time they use a code, we know, which marketing it came from, like which YouTuber, and we're able to give them, like a monthly payout. Like, oh, this is how many people used your code. This is how much we're able to give you, like a monthly payout or whatever. So it's a good way to actually gauge, is the marketing working? Like how many people are coming to you from your marketers, like to your website. In this case, it would be like THORChain if we have a dedicated THORChain website. But I don't know how the devs will be able to do something to do that, like some type of referral link or something, right? So I don't know if these marketers or YouTubers can have their own personal wallet and then it just goes straight there. I don't know, but the whole point was basically attacking retail, because that's how you attack retail through YouTubers. Because a lot of retails, like let's be honest, most of them don't know more than like Doggy Coin or that world. So they just go straight to like Robinhood or straight to Coinbase, if anything, and that's it. And then a lot of them though, they do want to buy and they do want to swap a lot, but they just don't know how. So they're just paying a whole bunch of fees for all these extra exchanges. But if we get the word out through YouTubers, I think that's one of the ways that will help. And it's pretty simple. Like you can do it two ways. You can do, like, let's say you just allocate like 5,000 or 1,000 like to a YouTuber, like do this 10-second skit or whatever, you know. Just talk about THORChain, talk about how you can swap here and just show the website like real quick or something. You can do it that way, or you can do that plus, you know, like every time they use like a referral link or whatever, we also pay you. So it's kind of like them are helping you, or they're helping you, you know, basically sell your product that way. And yeah, but basically that's one of the ways. I don't know other ways to do some type of marketing, but that's a really effective way to do retail marketing, and it doesn't cost that much. I would say you don't need like the whole
Yeah, we
250K budget
actually
to do that.
have a really interesting idea with that. We have talked about this before. You know, with the interface itself, there's a couple ways you could do it, or do multiple ways simultaneously. But we're actually interested, especially like with Memoless, right, is allowing building a interface generator that can be customized to an individual you know, influencer, whatever. I'll just use BitBoy just because what comes to my mind. You could have BitBoy swap, and it's actually a reskin version of Memoless, which requires no upkeep. You know, well, not no upkeep, but very minimal upkeep because it's Memoless, right? Very simple. And then we could also do the same for the interface that we sell. I know Kenton's been thinking about that. I've been thinking about that. So yeah, that's definitely, I think, in the cards. The affiliate thing, I don't know how that works if we have a zero fee on our thing. So I think it'd be better to actually give them their own, to empower them to have their own swap race, that they would be more than happy to keep on promoting because they get the affiliate fee from that. And so you basically just, what's the word? Proliferate interfaces and make the system of making them very easy, which can be very done with tooling like Chat and Build, which is essentially like AI generated, very competent interfaces. I mean, that's how Runebomb was created. It takes like 5 minutes. It's so easy. Yeah, there's a lot of things we can do. I don't know if you want to speak to that, Kenton, but yes, we've been thinking about things like that, of course, that make marketers that are rewarded for marketing THORChain on the influencer level.
Yeah, I do have a lot said. So yeah, Serge, hey
Kenton,
man.
are you speaking, Kenton?
Yeah, can you hear me? Hello?
If you are speaking, I can't hear you. Is it me, guys? Have I rubbed? Serge, can you hear me?
We can hear Kenton. Yeah, we hear him.
Okay. Can someone give me a
I
thumbs
rubbed,
up in the
so,
audience
okay,
that you can
go
hear
ahead,
me?
guys.
I can hear Patriot. Can anybody else hear me? Give me a thumbs up. Okay, thanks, guys. Yeah, Serge, you're absolutely right. And I don't know if you're familiar, like THORSwap already has this enabled. Like you can use a Thor name and get a referral payout on THORSwap. And so we can do the same thing with the THORChain front end, where you have a Thor name and then you get a 5 or 10% of the fees, swap fees, that go through that Thor name. And so absolutely, want to do that. And then as far as using like YouTubers and KOLs, like, again, you're right. A lot of, that's been another criticism. People are like, all these KOLs are a waste of money and they're scams, this kind of stuff. I'm like, I get it. Trust me, you guys. But some must be all right. Some of them must work. And, especially I've heard like the smaller ones, like the people just starting out, they're actually a bit better bang for your buck. And, why can't we try some of them, right? And if we give them the Thor name referral code, we will know exactly how well it's working or not. And we can track it. And if it's working, great. We keep doing it. Same with any pay-per-click stuff. We can have the Thor name referral code to that campaign. And so we should be able to track it literally directly, right? It's data, right? Data is how we analyze this stuff to know if it's working or not. And then to kind of add to Patriot, yeah, I want, so how THORChain is, we're trying to get it integrated into all these front ends. What I want to do with our front end is to enable it to be cloned to create thousands of new front ends. So like you're saying, like if an influencer or whatever wants to have their own site and have their own, their own DEX, their own platform, they can. they can just clone THORChain and then add in their own affiliate fee, and then they can go, pimp that to their audience. So want to make the THORChain as easily as possible for everyone and anyone to sell and promote. So yeah, man, you're totally right. You're absolutely right. It's just going to be, again, it's just a matter of time to figure out which ones work. So I'm curious with you. You said it was working for you. You're making money. How long did it take you to start making money off it? And what kind of margins were you seeing? Like, how much would you spend on a YouTuber versus how much would you take home? Can you share some numbers?
So yeah. So just to give you guys a reference, basically we were selling trading card accessories. So without YouTubers, obviously, like no one knew who we were. So we would send out like our trading card accessories to these YouTubers, and they would basically promote it. And then ever since then, like we would have like a big sale, like be like, on Friday we're gonna have this new release. E- Everything got sold within like 5 minutes. Like we would have 15,000 go straight to our PayPal like in 5 minutes. So it was definitely effective. Like you just have to target the right YouTubers. A lot of them are not gonna, or all of them are not gonna say yes. Some of them are gonna say no. Some of them just don't want to promote anything. But the more you branch out, especially on the retail side, like XRP right now is obviously hot. Solana is also pretty hot. Once you start choosing the right retail tokens and choosing those YouTubers, the more retail viewership that you get from those guys, and they start basically realizing what THORChain is and how you can swap there instead of going to Coinbase and having to sell your stuff, or try to swap some stuff there, but it's more expensive. Like if a YouTuber can basically say, like, they take 30 seconds, or like, all right guys, I want to show you guys THORChain, this is their front end, just to show you how easy it is to swap Ethereum to Bitcoin. I'm gonna do like $10 worth, I don't know, $100 worth, boom bada boom. And then they just show that, and then that's just like really powerful. Like obviously we can't send them a product, but if we can get them to just do like a live demo, then that would be huge. And then they'll just be like, this is my referral link if you want, or this is my whatever, use this code, blah blah blah, I don't know, stuff like that. But you just have to come up with the right marketing idea.
I agree with you, man, about just showing people how to use it. I think that's one thing. We can explain it, we can say it, we can tell people to use THORChain. I think we have to have video content that actually shows people how to use it, and I think that'll go a long way. So I think you're right. I think it's a good idea. Well, can you help us? Can you, like, I forget, Serge. I have so many people in my DM, so forgive me if I don't remember our conversation offhand. But was it you that sent me the list of YouTubers already? Like, can you maybe come up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I did some research. Yeah, I sent those to YouTubers. I was also asking if you guys have a Telegram marketing group or anything. Like, it would be fun to be part of that, at least to, like,
No.
anything that I can do to help out.
No, nothing's just what you see, man. Nothing's been started. Maybe Patriot. I think he said he did start something on Telegram, with some people. But I've not started anything. But yeah, it's a good idea that, maybe we should have a place for people to congregate type deal. Okay, so you mentioned you put out your ad with these YouTubers, and within like 5 minutes, you have 15 grand in your account. How much did you pay those YouTubers to promote your product?
So, in our case, these YouTubers that we got, they were really cheap. They didn't have like millions of subscribers. Like the biggest one that we got was like maybe 200K or 300K subscribers. But we targeted a lot of YouTubers that had at least like somewhere between 30K, 50K subscribers. So for the most part, they were all okay with just having like a quick $200 one-time payment, plus like here's like their coupon code. So every time they use a coupon code, you know, like at the end of the month, we'll give them whatever payout, and then we can show them like the actual tracks or metrics from our website. Like it shows all the coupon codes that were used and how many sales it generated. So we would just basically show them like, hey, this is your payout for the month. And then the first time they're like, wow, I actually got paid from these guys. I got like, you know, $20 or $50. That's a lot extra, like, you know, a month for them, you know. And then they're like, you know, I'm gonna start marketing even more. Like we didn't even have to tell them. Like they started doing it even more, and then they realized that they were getting more volume, or they were bringing more volume to our website, making more sales, and then they were getting a bigger payout. So it kind of just, you know, was like a self-fulfilling prophecy, essentially, just generating more volume, and that's just how it started. Like, and obviously it can get bigger from there, but so the list of YouTubers that I sent you, some of them are big, like Altcoin Daily. There's a lot of retail that go there. You know, some of them are smaller, but most of the ones that I picked were like 100,000 subscribers or more. Basically, I was just targeting like, okay, like if I type in XRP price prediction or XRP something, like what's the first thing that pops up, and where's retail going? You know, like stuff like that. Essentially, that was my analysis, and I was generating a list of YouTubers from there, and then going from there, like XRP or Solana or, you know, something like that. But obviously, we don't have Solana right now, but I know that it's in the works. But as long as we get this ball rolling and we can use XRP Crowd or even some other YouTubers as you know, guinea pigs or just testing the waters, and then we go from there. You know, we can figure out what works, what doesn't work. You know, what should we do differently, and so on.
I totally agree with you. I think if we get these links into the right hands and they start making money from it, they'll want to keep promoting it without us paying them. So, you know, in theory, we should just only have to pay them once, the one time up front, and then, you know, they'll see the money coming in, and that'll encourage them to keep going with it. So, yeah, I totally agree with you, man. Well, so let me ask you this: are you still running that business? I mean, it sounds profitable. It sounds like you would just keep it going.
My friends are running the business. I started with my friends. I have kids now. I'm just invested in crypto. I don't want to do any you know, like I don't have time to be doing like another full time, basically. Like I have time for part time, but not like full time. And my friends are doing that full time. But no, like there's 3 or 4 guys that are doing this full time, and that's their only job. So yeah, it started off part time for us as a hobby, but yeah, it's a full time thing.
Cool. Patriot, I don't know where you are, buddy, if you're up or not. THORChain intern, can you help Patriot get on stage? I think he's having problems now. Yeah, Serge, that's all sounds great, man. That's exactly it. You know, I want to try all these different things, right? And that's yeah, it all comes back to us having our own front end that we can give these people links to, right? Give something for people to sell. So yeah, that's why I started with the front end website first, get that going, and then now focus on get this marketing budget approved so we can start sending traffic to it. And guys, just to give you an idea, I just looked at the numbers yesterday. Like we've had like this last month, in July, 30,000. Was it July or August? Or sorry, I forget the exact, but you know, the last month or two, we've had 30,000 users and 3 billion in volume. So it's like each person on average trading $100,000, and I'm like, okay, those are bigger numbers, but like, God, I feel like 30,000 people. Like, how can we not get? I don't understand how we can't get up to 300,000 users in a month. Like, just with some very simple, basic SEO and pay per click. Like, I just don't see how it's not going to work. I don't get it. I don't. I feel like the number of users we have is so small that just just any amount of effort to try and get new ones, like you're going to get some. And if we double the number of users, all right, fine. That the volume might not double, but it's going to go up. And the nice thing too with something like THORChain, you use it once or twice, and now you exist, right? You're more likely to use it again in the future. So this will be another thing we have to measure is the lifetime value of a user versus their initial trade, right? Like we might spend $10 to get a user who only places a trade and generates, earns us like $5 in revenue. That might sound like a loss, but if that person's going to trade multiple times over the year, and at the end of the year is maybe done a bunch more trading and now has created $20 in revenue for THORChain, well then that $10 was worth it, is profitable. So we're going to have to play with the numbers like that and figure it out and try to understand them. But that's going to be our goal. And I just don't understand how we can't get several thousands, tens of thousands of users, with some simple marketing. I'm going to be really shocked if we don't. And if anybody out there knows how to do it, has experience doing it, guys, please reach out. Patriot, are you there? Are you? I don't know. Can you guys still hear me? You get a thumbs up from somebody? Am I still?
Yes. We hear
Yeah,
you.
okay, you got me. I don't know. It sounds like maybe we should start wrapping it up. I think Patriots having problems. Beat or Serge, did you have anything else you want to say?
No, everything is pretty clear.
Okay. Well, great, guys. Sounds
Uh,
like everyone's on.
yeah, just the
Serge?
last thing. Yeah, we should really try creating that group chat or marketing group chat. Whether or not it gets approved, I think we should still talk about ways how we can market.
And
Yeah, I think. Go ahead.
yeah, and you talk about the start of the front end project. So there is a team on it.
Yeah, the Unstoppable Wallet guys. They've already hit the ground running. I've already seen the first. I don't know if you call it version, but like the site is coming alive, and we should have version 1 live. First week of September. And it'll be
Okay.
just a basic swap site. It'll be just like Uniswap, basically.
Okay.
And we're just going to slowly, as things get done, roll it out. And so the goal is to do everything. We've got L1 swaps, DEX aggregation. We have all the Ruggira primitives, all their fun stuff. Everything on app layer is on the THORChain site. I want to get a fiat on and off ramp. I want THORChain.org to be the one-stop shop for crypto. You can do everything you need to do in crypto on our site. And so the initial push here is going to be, we want crypto savvy people, right, to come in and, people that already have crypto wallets come in and use THORChain. That's our immediate goal, right? Get those users. But, if we want to become, if you guys are all serious about making THORChain the biggest exchange in the world, we have to start thinking like that and acting like it. And we have to capture the entire user experience. So that's why I want a fiat on and off ramp for people to use so that, we're succeeding, we're winning. And now we want to start branching out into newbies, having their first experience with crypto be THORChain. We need to have everything on our site, right, for them to use. And also too, we could just have spillover effect. Like when you're doing targeted marketing, like if we're targeting, like Serge mentioned, like going after certain tokens, maybe there's a meme of the day or something, and we try a campaign, sell Bitcoin to buy this new meme or something. And we get some traffic and people are like, well, maybe somebody brand new to crypto is interested in this new trending token, and they come across our ad and they come to THORChain and they're ready to start in crypto. We want to be able to offer that to them, right? Give it to them. So I'm not saying that is our immediate goal and that's who we target out of the gate. That's not what I'm saying, you guys. But this is how I think we have to think. We have to plan for that and build towards that to eventually be doing that, because we will not be the biggest exchange in the world if we're only getting crypto natives. We have to be branching out into first timers too. And so that's the big picture.
Yeah. But it will be difficult without a mobile app, a smartphone app.
A great point. Yeah, actually good. Yeah, you're right. And you bring, yeah. So what I've been thinking about for a mobile app is memoless. Because it should be easy to create and easy for people to use, so that they won't have to create or download a new wallet. They'll be able to use existing wallets and just create, the memoless transaction on the THORChain app, and then go plug it into their other wallet. But maybe you're right. Maybe THORChain needs to have its own app wallet with all its own features. I'm not against that. I'm just trying to be realistic with everything we want to plan and do. That's pretty far down the road, right?
Yeah.
But the sky should be the limit on our imagination on what we should do, right? We should. I think absolutely we got to strive for that. So you're right. All right, guys, should we leave it at that? Start wrapping it up. I think we lost Patriot. It's just not the same without him here. So yeah, guys, these topics, these spaces are for you. So, if you have any suggestions on topics, ideas, if there's other projects listening, you want to come up and tell us your story, reach out to us, let us know. Always looking for content and guests. Next weekend, next Saturday, we've got Baloney Bones from the THORChain community Discord. He's going to come tell us all about it. The community Discord is going to be the help desk for the new front end. And this should be the Discord that we're aiming to grow here, and leave the dev Discord for devs so they can do their deving. Week after that, September 6th, we're going to have the Bitcoin Cash community again. September 13th, I believe we have some kind of Regira NFT group coming. I don't know if that's been official or not. September 20th, we've got Eric from Mocha coming on. Mocha is doing their launch, so he wants to come talk about the new Mocha app. And then September 27th, we got Hands and Hands Only from Regira. So you can, Hands can take the floor, talk about whatever he wants. You guys can come out, ask some questions. Alrighty, guys, thanks for listening. We'll be in touch. Take care. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.